Can you hear me? Nobody could hear me, huh?
I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you, Gabe.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
We just gotta get everybody in.
I can't see Vic.
I'm working on getting in my house. I'll be on in 2 seconds.
Oh, fuck.
All right.
Is that roses?
Yeah, I got.
That's a nice touch.
Andrew, can you let the other come in too, Andrew, or no?
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to get everything going.
Hey, that's the wrong presentation.
Wrong one.
Yeah.
That's what you had uploaded. Oh, you can pull it out. Yeah.
How about this one? Can we see what that one looks like?
Yeah. Hold on one second.
Oh, this is the wrong one again. Maybe it's this one then.
Hey, Andrew, do we have everyone in the room already?
No, not yet.
Okay. Did you let him know?
I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get everybody in. There's an issue with the page.
You doing any good out there, Gabe?
Doing okay. Good day, bad day. Yesterday sucked.
Did it?
But then 2 days ago was real good, so I don't know. Oh, God.
People should start coming in now. I had to send out a different email to all the customers because the link changed. I'll still have the recording, but just like the link in their dashboard changed. So basically, everyone's gonna get a new email with the new link, and I can see right now, and I'll send you guys the link too. Hold on, I'll send it to you on Instagram.
Do we need to get on it, or do we just stay on this?
No, like if you had anybody that writes you that says that they had any issue, I'm saying like I'm giving you the link to give them the correct link, basically. Like the system had the wrong link in there. Here, it's this one.
Oh, okay. This one should be the. This slide should be the right one. You check it for me?
Yo,
Yo,
I'm getting texts. People saying it's not working. Everybody's on mute.
no, I can hear you, Gabe.
Oh, it says you're on mute.
I have two screens up. One's my iPad and the other one's my phone. Where did Andrew go?
Andrew.
He's on somewhere because this thing is still live.
I'm here. I'm trying to put out another email to everybody. There's a new link. Did you get the Instagram?
Yeah, I got something.
Did you click it and try it for me? It's working for me. I'm
A
trying.
YouTube link?
It's an unlisted YouTube link, so only people with that link can view it.
Okay, I see it.
So if anyone wrote, I'm saying like give them that link. I had a guy just call me. Well, that's why I muted myself.
So people are watching us and hearing us right now then.
Correct. Yeah. There's 6 viewers right now. If you open the thing, we're waiting for about like another like 18 people. Not everyone's gonna watch live, but you know we're gonna record it anyway. If we have to go longer, obviously we will. I mean, we're only 10 minutes so from the start. I'm resending another second email now. And then here, Gabe, I can pull in. Is this the correct one?
Yeah, that's the correct one.
Yeah, see, I just did the new link to Andrew. It says video unavailable.
The one on Instagram?
No, the one that you emailed.
I think you probably clicked the old link.
No, it's just literally the one he sent.
The YouTube?
I did the one that was sent to my email. That was sent at where is it? 6:40. 6:30.
I'll try again. Let me see. Is it the same as this one?
Chris, can I text you the link I have that's working?
It says we have 13 people on.
Okay, I mean I'm fine to go. I'm not worried as long as there's people in the room. We're good. We can get going.
And one guy says he can't chat.
Well, the chat is in the YouTube stream, so that's why I said open up that on a different window if you can. And it might be on the chat here. You can here, guys, on the right hand side.
Yeah, I just did it.
Yeah. Hey. So there's Snags. Hey Snags. And there's Lewis. Hey Lewis. Beaverton Knights. Someone posted the YouTube link on the page. I was able to get in. Awesome. Good. That's great. And then in the top left, it says we have 12. So I know we're waiting on a few. Sorry about that, guys. And I'm also posting it in my Discord. So we can get started. Pretty shortly.
Chris, try the link I just sent you.
Okay. I
I just had my coffee too.
I didn't get your text message, Gabe.
I sent it to your Instagram.
Thank you. Okay. Hold on. Gabe, which Instagram?
Oh, God.
Right? Oh, here we go. This works.
Your real one.
Copy. I got people texting me too.
Oh, man. God. Come on, Nix.
Everyone, thanks for your patience. This is just some little technical difficulties.
Yeah, Andrew messed up and we're...
No, it's technical. It's the info. Hey, what time will you be live?
But it's okay. Andrew's going to make up for it later.
I was muted, but you don't want to know what I said.
Oh.
Foul language? We welcome foul language on this. And somebody needs to definitely stop their 2 streams at once. Chris, you must have just opened it up.
No, you're absolutely right. I just opened it up. Gabe, do you want to start talking maybe about the Oaks a little bit? I don't know. We didn't advertise we were going to talk about the Oaks, but I feel like there's probably one horse in there that we just need to talk about briefly.
The Oaks? You said full card Saturday.
No, I know. I just said briefly. I know we didn't advertise it, but I mean, I know you've looked at it, and like I said, I think that there's only one horse in there.
Well, I'm just going to single the favorite in there.
Yeah, exactly.
The 11. Just so you guys, listeners, know, I don't know if any of you checked out the weather, but it's expected rain on Saturday, so keep that in mind.
And the big scratch of Rodriguez.
And the big scratch of Rodriguez also. And that'll let Baeza get in, who ran a very game second to journalism in his last race. So Jason Ballet, you want to know who's going to win the Derby?
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Jason, if you could hear me, say something on the chat. I'll see if Jason's listening or not. Or am I even seeing the chat? It's like the... I said hello. Garufo could hear. All right, there's Jason. You know, I did a lot of work on the Derby last night over here in oh, Brady, that's Jason's, or Jason is my friend Brady's buddy. What's up, Jason? If you're a friend of Brady, you're a friend of mine. Okay, are we going to get going on this soon?
Yeah, let's go.
What are we
I'm ready
waiting
to go.
for? 17 minutes already. Are we waiting for something?
Andrew, we good?
Take us away. I mean, you're the show.
Right on, guys. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We appreciate everyone jumping on. Vic with Vic's Paddock Picks here, and we have Track Gabe and also Andrew with Aces and Races. We also appreciate your support. Like I said, we're going to be going through race by race, starting with Saturday, race number 1. It's a maiden special weight, mile and 1/16 on the dirt. Just like Gabe had mentioned, we're going to get about 2 inches of rain out there, so I would expect a muddy course. Would you agree, Gabe?
Yeah, but sometimes it's unpredictable weather. It's not like here in California where we kind of expect what's going to come. So it might be a little less, might be a little more. I've just read so many different things. Some people say 2 inches. Some people say half an inch only. It might be just some light rain. So I don't know. But
Okay.
I'm expecting some wetness, and I just hope it's not too much where it messes up the turf races and they have to be taken off.
Yeah, that would definitely throw a wrinkle in my handicapping because I did not.
Yeah, definitely, because all the turf races I'm looking at are for turf. So
Exactly.
I'm sure you too.
Yep.
All right, so first race. I'll start off with this race. I think it's 4 horses in this first race. Everybody, let's go to slide 2. This 8 horse is my top selection in here. Now, if you look at this 8 horse, they paid a 1.5 million or 1.3 million for this horse. Started his career at Saratoga in August. Ran really bad. Obviously, something happened because it followed a 8-month layoff, so forth. And then he ran a really good second off that 8-month layoff where he needed that race. He got bet. He got Lasix that time, bred by Uncle Mo. So I really think the 8 horse Samson is the top pick in here at 6-1. I doubt we get 6-1, but if we do, then we go to the ATM. I also think other horses in here, the figure would be the 11, Coffee Talk with Saez, who ran second last time, Brad Cox. Obviously, the 12 also, another horse that ran second last time, got a really good speed figure in that race. So you got horses who have ran really big races in this race too. So it's a very tough race. This is probably equivalent to like an allowance race or a stakes race, how good these horses are. And then the 2 horse also has a big shot, Cromwell, who's going to be getting a lot of action. Another horse who ran second in the slop and is bred by Quality Road. So this horse will like the mud if it's muddy already. So I have the race between 2, 8, 11, and 12. Maybe the 4, but I'm going to go with the 8 on most of my tickets in here. What are you doing, Chris?
Yeah, you know what? You just touched on the horse that I actually put first, which was the 4, the Javier Castellano horse for George Weaver. The real thing for me with this horse, just straight up for you guys, is it's a Rapoli horse. Rapoli owns this horse. I think that, with the third off the layoff is a big move against something that I consider watching. They paid $200,000, but the one real strong indicator for me is that last work at Belterra is actually in the mud. If you see the horse handle the mud really well, he ran a 4 and 48 and 4. That's really good in any mud condition. So I think this horse has yet to obviously run on the mud, but I think that with the muddy condition, I'm actually putting that horse first. So I wasn't too far away from your other horses either, Gabe. I did like that 2 horse for third. Cromwell, definitely Cerie DeVoe, off the layoff has very good potential. If you look at that back running line on December 21st, he came off that layoff from October into December and just missed by a head to Seattle Road. So I expect another big performance coming off that layoff. Again, he had that nice work April 25th, 47 and 2, and got the designation for the Breeze. So the horse wasn't after urged in that move, which tells me, again, this horse is fit and ready to go. The third horse in that race. So guys, I typically give 3 horses. in every race as my top 3 contenders to hit the board and to win. And I know that Gabe has a little bit different in the way he approaches that. So there's just different ways to approach each race, guys. But just so there's clarity around it, we may or may not have 3 or 2 horses in each race, just depending on how we see the race fit. So just a heads up for that. But the last horse that I liked in there was the 9, Bourbon Society. Ian Wilkes trains this horse. If you look at the running condition as well, he has a 1 try over the wet surface and he finished second. I do expect those 2 other horses to run very well. But again, the Churchill sloppy work, he ran it in a 5 in 1 minute flat. And again, over a muddy surface, that's pretty good moving on a muddy surface. So that again, to me, signifies this horse is going to run well in the mud. And off the layoff, he can definitely run well for Ian Wilkes. Again, we look at both of those running lines back in March 16th, June 23rd. When he comes off those layoffs, he fires. So I like seeing those lines. Those are super important lines to watch for if a horse is coming off the layoff. Because if he doesn't run well, odds are he's probably not going to run well if he typically doesn't run well off of layoffs. And there's no major change, gelding, added Lasix, remove blinkers, or anything like that, or change a trainer. Typically, you're going to see those horses stay in a pattern. You all right, Gabe?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I got money on this basketball game, and the team I bet had a 13-point lead, and now they're losing. So,
it's basketball.
You know how basketball is.
Yes, sir.
I quit basketball for horses, so
good.
That's a good move.
So just to recap, race 1, Gabe, who did you have?
Yeah, exactly. We have different horses in here, which is all right. It's going to be a competitive race. I am 8, 11, 12, 4 in this race. But I also think the 2's got a shot. But I am going to be betting the 8 mostly, especially if the 8 gets any kind of toed action. So the 8's my top pick, and the 11, 12, and 4 would be my B picks, and then 2 would be my C pick for any pick 5 and pick 4 action. And you, Chris? You there? I don't hear anything.
Sorry, guys. 4, 2, and 9. I had the
What
mute
happened?
button.
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, the mute. I hit the mute button on accident on the laptop. So 4, 2, and 4, 9, and 2. 4, 9, 2 for me.
yeah, I like the Weaver horse.
All right, guys. Moving on to race number 2.
All right, you start off this one for us, Chris.
Sounds good.
Nice.
Race number 2 is optional 80,000 non-winners of 2 lifetime with the 1 mile, 1-turn mile. Those are traditional Churchill Downs miles. It's a 1-turn mile out here in Southern California at Santa Anita. We have a 2-turn mile. So something to consider and something to always remember when betting at Churchill. I saw this race 10-7-3 in that exact order.
Wow.
So Generous Lover, Jose Ortiz for Joe Sharp. I have a history with Joe Sharp, guys. And again, I got a little bit of a soft spot for there. He came in, brought a horse in for me for 46-1 one day at Santa Anita. So I know he's well freshened off the layoff for his horses. And you'll hear me say it, guys, because this is, again, I look for common running lines in these horses. If you look at the last workout, April 26th, Keeneland, 4 furlongs in the slop, and 4 and 47, very quick in the mud. So if you look at the jockey trainer combo there to 32%, nothing to snitch at. Amazing record over the Churchill Downs course. 3 tries, 2 wins, and 1/3. This horse just screams a ton of confidence for me. Even though he is stepping up in the ranks, there is a big, there's a decent class hike here. I'm not going to lie. He's got to overcome a little bit. He's running in those stakes races. But he did lose at this level, optional 80 at Keeneland, but it was on the turf. So I think that he does have it up against him with some of these, but I do like the way that he has been training, and I think that he has that big step to move forward. So the second horse would be the 7 Normandy Queen, Flavian Pratt riding for Ronald Moquette. 2 for 2 at the distance with the mile. He's coming third off the layoff here, and he was previously trained by Mark Ladd. I think this is just a trainership. And Gabe, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I just think that Mark's not a registered trainer in Kentucky.
Just ran like one horse the whole meet.
Yeah. So the third horse being the number 3 horse is Izzy Monster. I chose this horse as an outsider just because of the distance running. He ran 4 times, won twice in 1 second. I like horses that are consistent. This horse is coming from Hawthorne, so it's definitely a kind of a head scratcher. And when I see those head scratchers, I wonder why they're even bringing this horse here to run. But you know what? They came all this way. We're going to go ahead and see what happens with him. Izzy Monster, the 3.
So those are your 3 horses?
Yes, sir.
I have a completely different 3 horses.
Perfect.
I don't know if it's perfect or not, but it's crazy how different we could see the same race.
Isn't that the beauty of this game?
Sometimes. Okay, one horse I like in here is the number 4, Home Game. And let me explain why. This horse, second off a layoff, ran a big race last time. He's got speed, but he could also lay off, which I think is key in this race. He also ran a big race at Turfway. These horses that run at Turfway run real big here. And I think this is the class of the field. I think the 4 is the class. He's been running against better horses than what he's facing in here. So I'm going to go with the 4 Home Game at 6-1 morning line. We'll probably get those odds or maybe even better because I think a lot of people are going to overlook this horse. The other horse I think is interesting in here. This is one of those probably wins or is off the board horses, is the number 5 Tap It Quick. So this horse is bred by Tapiture, Tap It. So these horses usually like to stretch their legs out. So I think this horse is perfect for a mile. Also, for a wet track, this horse should be good too. And this horse has done nothing wrong in his last 2 races. This filly ran really 2 good races, and I think she'll like the stretch out. So I think she's a decent one to look at. And then the other horse I was looking at in here is the number 11. This is another horse that's second off a very extended layoff. Richard Dutrow, very good trainer. Irad, very good jockey. Horse is proven on the track as well. Horse has won at Churchill. I just think Irad on it speaks volumes. And this horse has some speed figures that would put him in the winner's circle. That race 2 back at Churchill, mile and an eighth, that's a pretty good race against decent horses. So in the second race, I have it 4, 5, 11. And what did you have it, Chris?
10, 7, and 3.
All right. Well, maybe we should pick somebody else in that race. So somebody, we have 6 horses between us.
Yeah. No, I Gabe, that's the beauty of this kind of thing, right? Like, I feel like, you see certain things and I see certain things, and, race day, one of us will hopefully be right? I mean, but we could definitely both be wrong here,
Yeah, exactly.
All right, moving on to race 3. Optional claiming 125,000, non-winners of 1, going a mile and a 16th on the dirt. Gabe, why don't you go ahead and take this first?
I'll tell you one thing. This is let me put the screen on for that race, by the way. There we go, the third race. I'm not in love with this race. This race is very tough in my opinion. I honestly think anybody can win. I think the Baffert horses are going to be tough, 5 and 9. Any Thoroughgraph or Ragusan people that follow those look like the 2 fastest horses. But I think this is a tough race. I don't really have any strong opinion. If I got to go, I really don't have an opinion. I am, what I'm going to do in a wager or 2 is I'm going to go all on this race because I think this race could be won by a long shot. Or it might be one of the Bafferts. But I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm definitely have a very short opinion on this race. So hopefully you got a stronger one. So I might go with what you like, Chris.
Sure. When I looked at this race initially, and I go through a very specific routine whenever I look at a card, something caught my eye, and that was at the 11 horse down at the bottom.
Sorcerer horse I didn't even mention.
Yeah, Sorcerer Silver.
All right,
West
let's
Point Thoroughbreds owns this horse, and they don't, you know, they're invested into this game a lot, right? They put $130,000 into this horse, and if you look at both of those races, guys, I mean, he won, and he won with daylight. I think this horse is just going to go out and you know, sit and track. I don't think he's got to go to the lead. I think he's going to leave it to the Bafferts, but Irad's pretty smart, you know. I think this horse could be 3 for 3 tomorrow, and you know, again, talking about 3 for 3, look at the Dale Romans Irad Ortiz jockey trainer combo. 3 tries and what? 3 wins. They're perfect.
Yeah.
So I really see this horse, guys. Like, I mean, these are things where I'm just like, whoa, this just makes a ton of sense. As Gabe, you know, kind of let us off and said, this race is really wide open. I mean, you have a couple in here that ran in the Lexington, ran in the Louisiana Derby, but they didn't really run, right? And what I mean by that, they're not those caliber horses, so they typically need to go back down this level. But what I know is that those horses that do typically do well in the Louisiana Derby and the Lexington, you know, they typically do well at these levels too, at optional 125, right? So I look at that horse that broke his maiden, and then he runs state bred optional 50, but he won by 7. And I mean, those aren't easy fields to run in at Gulfstream. And I mean, Gabe can attest to that. You get bombs all day at Gulfstream in a maiden optional 50, or excuse me, in a state bred optional 50. So I saw that race, and again, it just caught my eye. I really looked at it and looked over it, and I said, this 11 horse is just, I mean, if he breaks normal, and he sits off the Baffert, sits off the 8, who's going to go to the lead with the Bafferts, I really think he's going to sit a great trip. And I'm with you, Gabe. If it's not that horse, it's going to be a closing bomb. I just think there's a ton of speed in this race. And, you know, the 1 horse, Vamos Carlitos, he comes flying from the back. If you look at his race running lines, not in the Risen Star, obviously, but again, that optional 100 non-winners of 1. Look what he did there. Those are the horses that I think that, you know, with a ton of speed in here, both Bafferts, you could definitely maximize that all button.
Somebody from our chat said, watch out for the 6 horse, Garufo. And I definitely think the 6 is a major contender in this race.
Yeah.
Gets Lasix back on.
Rapture, you mean?
Rapture. Isn't that Rapture?
Yeah, Rapture's a 6 horse. It's Brad Cox.
Yeah. So this horse was extremely impressive in that maiden win. Got a really good speed figure in that maiden win, too. A speed figure that would be definitely competitive in this race.
And if you look at that VA Derby,
Max likes him too in our chat. If you look at our
Max.
chat, Max likes him too. So maybe, you know, this could be one of those where, you know, our chat members, you know, I mean, they're here to see what we like, but you know what? They might open our eyes to something. You know what I mean, Chris?
Absolutely. That's the truth. Like I said, I don't think you've ever heard Gabe or I say we're going to be right 100%. And, you know, we take our stripes and we take our lumps, as everyone should. And this could be that race where we got to take some lumps, you know, but I was looking at that running line of Rapture, that last race, March 15th at Colonial Downs. Who finished second in that race?
Out.
Well, I know, but look who finished second in there. Render Judgment. He's contending in the Kentucky Derby today, or that same day.
Yeah. And American Promise.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, you know what, guys? I mean, I'm glad this is the beauty of it. Let me tell you, I love it. There's times where Chris and I, you know, have gone together on tickets or stuff where I love a horse in a race and he thinks it's tough, or he loves a horse in a race and I think it's tough. That's the beauty of horse racing. So I'm glad that you guys have a strong opinion in there, because neither Chris and I really had one. So you guys mentioning the 6, you know, that makes me open my eyes on the 6.
Absolutely. 6-1 morning line, right? Or no, I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong race now. I've been race 4 already. So
all right, let's go to race 4.
7-2 morning line. So I was 11-5 there, guys.
Oh yeah.
Gabe,
Let's recap that race.
I was 11-5 there. Gabe was. What were you,
I
Gabe?
was all over the place. I don't really have a pick in that race.
Okay. Gabe's going to abstain
like
from
5
race
horses. I could see.
Ace's pick is number 7. So
Ace is chiming in on the 7.
yeah, we'll throw in Ace's pick. We'll just do one pick.
Ooh,
each.
that's a good pick too, and I'll tell you why, because I circled this and I didn't mention it, but that's the Kenny McPeet Brian Hernandez combination, guys. For those of you who don't remember or recall this, last year Kenny McPeet swept the Oaks and the Derby and Brian Hernandez swept the Oaks and the Derby. So when those two guys team up, you definitely want to pay extra attention to that. And for all the people that out there that are watching that Netflix series Chase for the Crown, you should be on that. That was some free information. And I can tell you the day after that aired or debuted, Kenny McPeek and Brian Hernandez won the first race at Keeneland. Like, it was just one of those things that you can't make up. But whenever you see those guys team up, and I'll give you another angle too that you want to look at. You definitely want to bet them when they team up. But if Kenny McPeek ever has a horse in a race and Brian Hernandez isn't riding that horse, you want to bet the Brian Hernandez horse. Okay? And the reason I'm telling you that is because Brian is super loyal to Kenny, and to the point where obviously, like, it's going to take a lot for him to move away from taking another mount off of a McPeek horse and to ride to a different trainer. So if he's doing that and Kenny's got a horse in the race and it really isn't that, money of a race as far as like a graded stakes or something like that, then I would definitely want to take an extra look at that Brian Hernandez horse. But that's just food for thought for you guys. Little golden nugget.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Thank you. You want to take the fourth race for us, Chris?
Let's do it. Let me pull up my note back up here in the fourth. There we go.
To me, this is another very tough race.
Your guys are, for those of you that actually listened to the Gabe's podcast, or that we did for the Breeders' Cup last year, you would think that I was a stand-up comedian when I gave out this horse, because everyone laughed. And this was kind of the launch of Vic's paddock picks when I gave Sullivan Angel out, morning line 17-1, but he crossed the finish line, balloons higher. I have a horse like that today for you.
I'm going to start bragging about my hits all over the place.
You
too.
should. I do. You know what? You got to celebrate him, man.
I'm going to be a braggart like you right now.
Hey, if you hit 25-1 or plus, you can bag for the rest of the year. So this horse, fours are wild, guys. Race 4, number 4, Castle Chaos. Okay. Let me go back over here.
That horse can definitely win. I'll agree with you on that one.
That's a nice pick. I would never have thought of that horse.
So we're going to break this down here, okay? This horse takes its time, and when he gets in a rhythm, he gets going. And what I mean by that, early on in his career, he obviously won Optional 62 as the last running line that I have, but he's run races before that because we only get to see 11 running lines. But he's run very consistently right up until that Aqueduct sloppy, right? Which kind of didn't make sense to me in his running line, because he ran 5 times, he's won once and ran twice and finished third twice. So I started to go back and look through all of these in each and every race. And the one thing that I liked, obviously, when he came back to Aqueduct, Optional 80, he didn't embarrass himself. He ran very, very well, finished second by half a length with Clinton Elliott on, right? This is kind of the distance thing for me. 6 out of the 9 tries in the money. But I think the most striking thing for me when I saw this horse was that Rispoli took them out. Okay. And why that's important is you got to put yourself in the mindset of a jockey agent. Okay. If you know your rider is going to be in the Kentucky Derby, you want to get him on as many mounts as you can and early on in the card that give him a chance to not only win, so he can get a feel for the track and get an understanding of how that track's running to give him a better idea later on. So the fact that Rispoli took this mount kind of spoke a ton of volume to me. And the fact that, again, the horse is coming off the layoff, second off. And I think that, this is just, again, an angle play for me where I'm just kind of putting all these little pieces together. And I like it. At the price, it's hard to, talk myself onto a horse for like this, but it's even harder for me to kind of talk myself off of the horse just because Umberto got on him. So I expect this horse to definitely run a big buyer speed figure second time out, closer to the 97 that he ran back in the Hooper grade 3 with Tyler Gaffleone. So I feel like when this horse gets a good jockey, I'll say it, he's going to run a better race. And I think he's got one of the best jockeys on his back today.
That's all you like in there, the 4?
No, I just thought that was, I had to kind of explain why that was such an important, but
well, can I give a little input on why that 4 shows value?
Go ahead.
If anybody's looking at the screen right now, look at the race on July 26th of last year, 7 furlongs at Saratoga. This horse had a lot of trouble in that race. and ran against the 3 horse in here and was only lost by 2 lengths to that horse. So if you're looking at that race and you see they had the same weight too, now this horse has 5 less pounds than that one too. So the less weight and less traffic, less trouble combined, and we got one horse at 20-1 morning line, we got one horse at 6-1 morning line. So that's why the 4 is much more value than the 3.
That's a great point, Gabe.
Because you see that they've ran against each other before, and the 4 had trouble. The 4's got less weight. The 4 likes this distance also better than 7 furlongs, it seems. So I think that's another good handicapping angle when you see 2 horses who've run against each other, and one's a short price and one's a real high price. So that 4 is a good pick. I liked him too. He was one of my few horses in here. Was there anybody else you liked?
The other horse I liked was the 3 horse, the Ceterate. Obviously, you made the exact point. This horse ran against Castle Chaos, was finished better that day. You noted the trip for him as well. So no, it was 10-3. I'm sorry, 4-3-10 for me.
Okay. There's a long shot I like in here.
Ooh, here we go.
It's also
2 double long shots in this race, guys.
Yeah, here we go. This is a long shot race. All right, I got the screen on them. And it's the it's the number 7 best actor. I think this horse could win. Now look at this. 2 for 3 at Churchill. I think Churchill's a very horse for course track. Second off an extended layoff. And you could just throw that last race out because they just gave him a race. And it was against much better horses too. Look, he was 52-1. They just put him in a race to get him going, get his legs stretched out. Now look at this also. This trainer, Ed Moger, he's 25% second off a layoff. So that means he usually gives his horses a race. So, and if you look back, if you give excuses, let me ask you this. If those 2 races didn't exist, the April 8th prep and the May 4th race where it was followed by a layoff, so obviously those 2 races were no good. Look at this horse, second in grade 3s, win, fourth, second. Wouldn't this horse be one of the favorites if you could forgive those last 2 races?
Yep.
Or he'd be at least one of the horses bet. So I like the 7 best actor for a price in here. Another horse I like in here is the 6. And I'll put the camera on I'll put the thing on the 6. 6 is a major contender in this race. 3rd race off a layoff. Another horse that hasn't won at Churchill, but is always there. Another horse loves the distance, has really good speed figures. Connections have hit 43% together. I just think this horse, is a consistent horse that's always there. You can't leave him out. Brian Hernandez, very good jockey. So I'm going to be using Chris's 4 because I respect Chris, and my 7 because I respect long shots that look so good like that. And I'll be using the 6 as well. If you need anybody else in this race, maybe the 10, maybe the 13. Those are the other 2 that might have a shot. Remember, these are full fields, so there's always going to be a lot of horses. But I think win, place, and show bets on those 2 long shots we gave out, number 4 and number 7, might produce a positive ROI for us.
I couldn't agree more, man. I very rarely do Gabe and I line up on long shots. And I mean that respectfully because we both have very similar yet different angles that we like to play. But I will tell you, Gabe is super, super sharp when he finds a bomb. So you definitely need to respect that. If Gabe is concurring with me, I think that speaks volumes because Gabe does have a super sharp eye for long priced horses.
All right, moving over to make your money.
Yeah. We'll switch on over to Churchill Race 5, the Distaff, Grade 2, the Lone G's Churchill Distaff Turf Mile. This is a $750,000 race. That's awesome. And this is the first turf race of the day. So we'll be definitely paying attention to see what happens. I will say this. Kentucky is definitely much more lenient when it rains and running on turf than California will ever be.
Oh yeah.
So they'll be pouring rain and they'll still be running on the turf at Kentucky, and they'll list it as yielding, right? I think that's a good thing, but noting that as a handicapper and knowing that as a handicapper, you need to be cognitive and make sure you're notating that. And I know that someone made a comment that we're all meteorologists in the chat earlier, but it's really just being cognitive and aware of what is going on with that weather. So let's kind of be aware of that with this race. So
Yeah, Jason's a smart ass, but that's okay. I'll see you at the track, Jason. I'll see you Memorial Day. We'll be there.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this race for me shaped up 6, 10, and 2. So number 6.
Hey, wait, hold on. Guess what?
What?
The same 3 horses I got.
Uh-oh.
We finally agree.
Sound the alarm.
6, 2, 10 here.
Here we go.
All right, finally.
You guys, just so you're aware, we have not talked about this, Gabe and I. We were supposed to kind of do a dry run earlier, and as you guys can see that, with our stalled IT issues, that again, no one's issue, it just happens. We weren't able to do it. So the fact that we actually lined up on those 3 horses, the same exact ones, is pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm 6, 10, and 2. And Gabe, what did you say you were?
6, 2, 10.
Oh, okay, so you flip-flopped. Okay, so we both put the 6 on top, guys. Gabe, what did you like about the 6?
Oh, I think the 6, I remember that race very well. The last time this horse ran, I bet him.
Mm-hmm.
I think Velasquez just kind of rode him. He didn't really try too hard with him. I think it was a little bit of a prep. Also, I really think that field that he ran against is way better than this field. Okay. I remember there was a couple of just so you know, my memory and doing the work, there was a couple of Chad Brown monsters in this race, and they ran 1-2. So this horse, I think, just ran into a couple of juggernauts, was kind of far back. I mean, was kind of just ridden and kind of weirdly by Johnny V. I don't know if he was kind of knew he wasn't going to win or something, but I think today is the day where they were pointing for. So I think the 6 was pointing for this race with a really big purse money and an easier field. So I like the 6. The 2 horse, this is an obvious contender here, the 2 horse. Mm-hmm. And Jose got off 2 other horses in here to ride this one, too.
Yep.
And I'm sure you noticed that.
I did.
And I also think that this horse is getting good right now, too. And when fillies get good, they stay good for a little while.
That's right.
And it's also Safi Joseph as well. He's a very good trainer that I respect a ton. So I am, in all my pick 4s, pick 3s, pick 5s, whatever, I'm going to 2, 6, 10 in here, and I'm expecting to get out of this race victorious.
Okay. One thing that I heard you say there that I think is interesting that I'll note, you said that when the fillies are getting good, they stay good. And what I think you mean by that is that these fillies right now, if you look when they were born, so the 2 moving on up was actually born in January, and all thoroughbred racehorses have a universal birthday of January 1st, right? And that's just for math. That's just for the number's sake. But obviously horses are born January, February, March, April, May, late May sometimes. And that's super important to notice because we'll just use the 3 as an example. He's 2 months old or younger than the 2 horse. And that may not seem significant, but 2 months more of growing, maturing, and getting bigger and stronger is going to put you in advantage. And
it does.
You've got to really understand that from the perspective of just, if you've had children, you'll understand this quicker because your children may be 3 years old, but when they first turn 3 till the last day that they're 3, there's a huge gap, right? Like there's just a gap of cognitive thought process, speech, and all that. But anyway, with horses, it's no different. They're bigger, they're stronger, and they're faster. So whenever I see early bred or early born fillies, I definitely take note of that. And I put that special mark down at their age line to signify that they have a couple extra months around and have that much more experience. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
It's always a good thing.
Yes. The one other horse that I notated that for was the 4 horse, Serena Seraph. And this horse has 1-for-1, is actually an invader from across the pond. But he's had 2 decent races here. And the only thing that he hasn't proven is that he can run the distance. And what I mean, as far as at this level, he's run the distance at a mile, but it was a very optional 25. It wasn't that strong of a field, but he did step it up at Keeneland and did do very well and ran second by a neck. I would have liked to have seen Joel back on, but Junior Alvarado is a great substitute. Bill Mott, if you look at their numbers together, it's nothing to sniff at, guys. Like those are great numbers, for what I believe. I mean, 17%, it's not as high as 20, but I still think that they do a good job together. So I just want to throw that horse out there.
All right, that sounds good.
Moving on to the race 6, the Pat Day Mile. This is again 1 mile turn. I'm trying to go through my notes real quick here.
I'll get going on this race
Go
because
ahead.
I have a really strong thought process on this race.
Okay, go for it.
I think there's a ton of speed in this race. We got the 1 horse, we got the 3 horse who shows speed, the 4, the Gaming has some speed too, the 7, even the 8 has a little bit of speed. So when I see a race like this, you know what I want to do? I want to see horses that could finish and maybe horses that are going to come off the pace. So I'm going to go with 2 horses in here that I think are the best finishers. And the first one I'm going to go with is number 5, Gate to Wire. And I usually don't bet jockeys. I don't like to bet jockeys. Sometimes I do. But in a race like this, I believe in Pratt. And I think Pratt will be smart enough to put this horse in the perfect position. And I think this horse is good enough to win this race anyway. You go back to that race 2 races back. I think that race is competitive with anything else in here. Todd Pletcher, very good trainer. He's a trainer who likes to get his horses ready for the big stage. I always like to bet Pletcher when it's a big purse, big stakes races, because I think he kind of gets them. That he's a chess player that looks 2 steps ahead kind of trainer. So I think that's what he's doing with this 5. And then the 2 horse, Bill. I bet this horse last time, and I was very disappointed with this horse. But I think this horse, with the 2 post and all, I think he's going to be laying off the pace. He might even be a closer. Rispoli loves to give ground. We know how he is. So, and he's got that nice workout that people are talking about on April 24th. So I'm going to go with 5-2. If one of the speed horses win, maybe it'll be the 1. If it's one of those races where, Baffert, if it's one of those races where it looks like a ton of speed, but then it might just be the 1 horse on the lead by himself. Sometimes that's how it goes. So if that's the case, then the 1 might win. But I'm going to try to beat the favorites in here and go with the 2 and 5, 2 horses right off the pace. What are you doing in here, Chris?
So I'm going a little bit on the inside of you here of the 5. I like the 4, Smokin' Wicked. And you mentioned this earlier. Churchill is horse for course. This horse is 2 tries, 1 win, 1 second, with the 1-for-1 on the wet track. And that's really kind of what piqued my interest here. I think that this horse appreciates the wet surfaces, gets a top pilot with Brian Hernandez back in the saddle. And I'm a big Dallas Stewart fan too. He runs a ton of Gulfstream, and he brings the bombs in as well. So when I see Dallas come up here and run, I definitely pay attention. And if you look at the optional 100 non-winners of 1, Brian Hernandez jumped on there, and he jumped on there 3 times, and he won every single time. Optional 100, the Louisiana Juvenile, the Louisiana Futurity, and then he ran in the Rebel with Tyler. And I just think that was just a bit too much for him. So he does run back into Madacat Road today. Sandman, Coal Battle, we recognize those names because they're running in the 12th in the Derby today. But Madacat Road is definitely a horse I'm going to be using, as well as Smokin' Wicked. And then yes, the 5 horse, I had him in there as well. So I was the 4, 5, and 1.
If the 4 wins, I lose.
Okay, respectfully, that happens.
I don't see that horse being in the top 5. If he does, though, I'll give you credit. Lots of credit, and we've seen that happen before, where neither of us like our horses, and we surprise each other.
That's right. Yeah, that's
so
right.
This might be one of those cases. The next one, so that's good. I got a ticket I'm going to take to the sports book after this.
You won. Gabe hit that game. All right, Gabe.
So I think we're done with this. Also, snug bets.
Snagged bets?
Or snag bets. God, snagged. Good. My eyes are bad. I need glasses. I'm 44, so, it's about that time. You'll get there. Watch in 5 years, Chris. Watch. You'll see.
Yeah, I will.
Snag Bet says he really likes the 2. So,
okay.
Hey, you guys are in the chat. I'm reading everything. Okay, so Zencrony Max, he wants to know about gaming.
Let's talk about it.
You, Chris,
absolutely.
I don't know about you, but gaming, I don't know. I don't know if he's the same horse.
So the thing with gaming for me, and I'll be straight up with you, right? Like the horse has been super consistent in the essence that he puts his race forward, right? The only time he didn't do that was the Southwest, and that's why I think they obviously gave him the time off. I don't knock Bob here at all. I think that he's definitely performing, where he needs to be. For me, this just came down to the track condition and also the experience that these others had on the track. I don't disregard gaming by any means. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a phenomenal horse and Bob's a fantastic trainer. He's definitely not putting this horse in there, to lose or just to run. I just believe that with the wet surface condition and these other horses that have more experience, they're definitely, I mean, for one specific example, whatever he'd happened on Southwest, Sandman finished second, and we already know that, we already know that Smokin' Wicked, Madacat Road, for instance, have run against him as well. Madacat Road beat Sandman, and I'm not saying that Madacat Road should be in the Derby by any means or saying that at all, but, race for race in the Rebel, Madacat Road beat Sandman, and Sandman beat Gaming, right? So for me, I just think that he's a little bit in tough. I don't know if he's really going to be ready to go, and I'll leave it at that. Other than that, I definitely could be wrong. There's no reason that Bob couldn't win the race or any others. But for me, I just wanted to go kind of away from that and again, choose a horse that offered a little bit more value and had some surface condition there that had experience.
Yeah, I never ran on the track before, but I don't know. It's Baffert. He could beat me. I'll try to let this horse beat me. I mean, I'm with you. I don't knock this horse, and I don't know. I just kind of think this horse has been a money burner lately, and he's been burning a lot of money. And I don't know. I don't know if gaming is as good as we thought he was. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm thinking maybe those races at Del Mar and the Breeders' Cup. I think sometimes we overrate a race like the Breeders' Cup. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile. I mean, come on. There was a year where Storm the Court won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Correct.
And that was an allowance horse.
And you got to look at that again from the perspective of those horses are super young still. They're still 2-year-olds, right? And you're going to get the month of December, January, February, March to grow into your frame and grow into your body as a colt. And you're going to get better. And a lot of these horses, and I can't remember the specific statistic that I heard, but it was on FanDuel. And it was something of like 2 of 10 that win the juvenile will go on to win the Derby.
Yeah.
Like it's a very small statistic. You don't see the justifies, that are going to win the juvenile and then go on to win the Derby, right? Like those are just kind of far and few between. There's very few horses that are actually able to do that. But, I will tell you this:
that Breeders' Cup Juvenile, it might end up being a little phony. I mean, let's just say if we all remember,
misleading.
Yeah, misleading because if we all remember, there was a couple of horses that broke bad in the race, so that allowed Citizen Bull to get a clear, uncontested lead all by himself. Chancer Patrick was in the race. He's turned out to be a big dud.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Baffert ended up running 1, 2, 3 in that race. I mean, what does that tell you? All the East Coast horses did nothing in that race, and they've not turned out to be anything. So I think we look at it like, hey, you know, Gamey ran second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Oh, so that means he's, you know, that might not mean nothing. Remember, Storm of the Court won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. You know, and a Golden Gate horse ran second in that race. And neither of those horses ever turned out to be anything. So sometimes we look at the prestige of a race, not knowing that might have been a weak race that year. You get it? Right?
Yep.
You agree, right?
Yep.
All right. I hope that answered your question on what we thought about gaming, Max. I love the comments in the chat. Keep them coming, guys. I'm reading them.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. We are paying attention.
Yeah,
moving on to race 7.
I love these questions that we're getting, and you know, remember,
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here, and that's why you're here. We want to know what you think too. So keep them coming, guys. Take us to race 7, Mr.
Yep.
Victor.
Race 7, the Turf Sprint, Grade 2, 5.5 furlongs. This race was obviously kind of difficult with what we're going to be facing with the turf, but
I know, man. The weather's really.
I had 2 horses here that I really liked, the 7 and the 8.
I mean, with the weather, doesn't the 8 look really good?
Yeah. The other horse
you know
in there
he
for
can
me was
handle
the
the
1
weather.
horse. 781. We'll start with the 7, Think Big. If you look at this horse, obviously Michael Stidham is a great trainer. This will be his first starter here at Churchill this year. But the horse is just in good form. He loves running this distance. He's 3 for 3, obviously here. Roke Lightning isn't short thereafter, right? I think that those 2 horses are for me the top 2. I don't really see anyone else besides that. And I did say using the 1 in the 3rd spot, but there's just a ton of speed in the race, and those 2 horses are just the faster of the speed horses, in my opinion. You know, there is Boss Sully in there, Luis Saez. I saw that for Brian Corner. That's a California trainer that I know very, very well. And I put a special marking on there of Watch the Tote, right? So WTT.
That's my marking. I love that.
Yeah, WTT, Watch the Tote. And when I put stuff on there for Watch the Tote, I really do. You got to have the form open. You kind of got to be looking for it. But before I do that, and Gabe, you know, does this as well, we're very intuitive to looking at double payouts, pick 3 payouts. And that's going to give you a clear indicator 20 minutes before the race goes off of who is live and who is not. And I'll explain that to you. So let's say the 6th race just ended, right? And we're going into race 7. You want to go on whatever betting site that you use, whether it be FanDuel, TVG, Twin Spires, whoever it is, and you want to go check out their will pays. And you go to the will pay option, you look at the pick 3s and the doubles. And what those are doing, guys, is that's set money. That money's already set in stone, can't be changed, and those are going to be paid out in this race depending on who wins. And why that's important is because you're going to get to see hidden value in horses. And what I mean by hidden value, these horses morning line may be 10 to 1, but they're the second payout, lowest payout in the pick 3 or double. And why that's important, because a lot of people already think that horse is going to win in the prior race or 2 prior races before. And you definitely want to pay attention to that as much as you can, because there's going to be significant discorrelated odds, which meaning your morning line odds are going to be high, but your payouts are going to be super low. And by the time post time comes, those horses' odds are definitely going to be lower because more people are going to be seeing that and putting their money on it. But if you're ahead of the game, you can set yourself up to bet other pick 3s or confirmation bias is what I call it, where I confirm, yes, this horse is live. We've picked the right horse today, or, you know, we feel more confident in that. And that's what I mean by being able to see in those odds prior, if that makes sense. But I feel like this race again, it just kind of set up for those two horses, the 7 and the 8, and we're going to be confirming that again with the pick threes and the doubles. Gabe, you want to?
Yeah, no, that's wonderful advice that you're giving everybody. I hope everybody's listening and is already doing that. And if you're not, then you need to be doing that because sometimes it'll give you a real clue on what's going on. If you have a horse that's not getting any action in the double, and that's never a good thing usually. I mean, unless it's a long shot that nobody really knows about. But I'm more talking about like horses that are, between the favorite and maybe like 6-1. If those horses are dead on the board on the double, that's usually a bad thing. It's a bad sign. A lot of sharp money is in the double and pick three pools. So that's always a good thing to look at. There's a horse I like in here, and I wonder if we're forgetting about this horse. This horse was named after me. The horse is named No Balls.
Huh.
So the horse was named after me because I have no balls. And if you look, this horse has won on wet turf before. This horse has won a Breeders' Cup race. I know we talked about Breeders' Cup races being somewhat overrated, but not that one. That was a good rendition of the Breeders' Cup Sprint. This is a nice hard-knocking horse. Third race off a layoff. And I just think this horse is a hard knocker. He's ran twice on the Churchill turf and won both times. I think we're all forgetting about how good this horse is. So No Balls is one I like. Of course, I like the 8. Our buddy likes the 8 too, Louis.
GRD? Oh, watch it.
On the chat, Louis.
Guitar with the good time to rest and work fine for this race. Okay, Louis. Thank you for that.
Louis is doing the work too. I like that. So we both agree the 8 is a major contender in here.
Mm-hmm.
Pratt's on it. He'll give a good ride. You could always usually count on him. I also think your 7, Think Big, is another horse to use as well. So we're pretty similar.
Pretty close there, yeah.
Yeah. So that's that race. Let's move on. Race 8. What did we think about in this race? This is an interesting race. This was an interesting race. I'd love to hear some thoughts from our chat room because this is an interesting race. We got 2 horses in here that are actually very popular horses. I'll start with Mindframe, who we all remember from last year. He ran in the Belmont and looked like he was going to blow by. You and I were together that day, Chris, remember?
Probably. I don't know.
Oh, you don't even remember? Remember our friend Wiener was all over Dornich and
oh, yeah, I do.
And there was a horse that was going to pass him, and then he went 20 wide, lugged out.
Yep.
That's this Mind Frame. This horse was very well meant. This horse is, this horse is a monster. But he's a crazy horse. So he's the equivalent of like my 3 last ex-girlfriends. So the 7 is most talented horse in the race, maybe, because there's another extremely talented comebacker also, number 10, Nisos.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be, Chris and I, one thing is we're Southern California experts, and we're Southern California. We're in the mix in Southern California. And this was Baffert's monster. This was like the star of his barn for a little while. This was the horse that was like, okay, this is his Derby horse. This is his, monster and all that. Well, not the Derby because he couldn't have ran in the Derby, but this was a horse equivalent, to being a Derby horse. Pardon that suspension he had, but Nisos is as talented as they come. Ran huge races. If he could run 70 to 80% of what he's done, I think he'll be tough. So I kind of think this race is between these 2 comebackers because these 2 horses are just super, super talented. Now let's see. Garufo said Nisos is working out good. I got info on him. And then Zencrony Max says he really likes Mind Frame. and Snag Bets is laughing.
Mhm.
Maybe
Um,
one of my jokes from earlier, but nonetheless,
So
what are you thinking here, Chris?
I agree with your assessment of Nisos. I'll start with that. I definitely think Nisos, he's 3 for 3 in his life. He's never lost. But this is definitely I'm going to say it. This is a super competitive race, man. I really think that this race is just looking at it like from the paper side. I wrote down 5 horses. Like I literally was just like, oh my gosh, this one can win, this one can win, this one, and it's a good thing to see in a race. Let me tell you, because you're definitely. I think that a lot of these horses are going to be close in odds. I don't think that you're going to. I think you're going to see a lot of 5-1, 4-1, 3-1. I think the favorite in this race may be 5-2, 2-1. I don't think you're going to get a 6-5 or anything lower in that race. This race, just because I think the competition. But
let me say this is a Crony Max guy. He's a big bettor. He's got hundreds of thousands in his pocket, and he really likes mind frame, so he might put in a $200,000 bet. So,
well, I'm not too far. So the 3 horses that I liked were Nisos, the 10. Number 6, Extra Anejo, and number 7, Mindframe. Those are the 3 that I had in that order. We already talked about the 10 Niso, so I'm going to go with start talking about Extra Anejo, the 6. So Joel Rosario picks up this mount for Steve Asmussen, but Winchell Thoroughbreds is a very big owner, and they like to win. So they don't, you go look at this horse's running lines. They put this horse in where they know he's going to win. Or they want to definitely try to win, obviously. But optional claiming 100 after you run in the Haskell, I mean, you're just entering to get that condition in, and then you run back in this. I don't know what happened there at this Hanish 297. I'm not really sure what Tyler or what happened. I haven't gone back to watch it, but obviously something did happen because he threw in a clunker. I mean, it really wasn't that competitive of a race. But then he goes out to Mountaineer and finishes 4th by 3 with Corey Lannery, coming back again to Churchill 7.5 and winning. But what's important is that Commonwealth race, I watched that race live at the boat actually on Rosemead, and I remember watching it. And this horse, he just came flying from the back. Like Pratt rode this horse so well, and he was 4-1 that day, and a couple people cashed with us. But there's just something about this horse that I liked. He threw in those clunkers. Not going to deny it. The Churchill form for me is good, but it's shaky because again, you see those 7.5 races that he didn't do well at. So he's cutting back to the 7 today, and I think that is going to help him being a little bit shorter. Even though I probably do like him at that 7.5, but I think that obviously the 7 is going to fit more into the speed that we need from him today. So I don't disagree with the 10 or the 7 at all. I definitely want to use that 6 horse just because I think he's in good form coming up.
I think there's a horse that we should mention that we're forgetting, and I think this horse is going to be kind of a forgotten horse. It's a really good horse, and he's 7-2 on the morning line.
11.
The 11.
Yep.
This is a horse I bet in the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year, and he ran into a juggernaut in a straight no chaser, and that horse that ran second in there is a friggin' monster too. That's a Sadler horse who in previous races ran real big too. So Mulligan is a very consistent horse. I mean, second, third, first. Has Luis Saez on it. Now, one thing that interests me, I mean, that discourages me a little bit is Pratt obviously could have rode this horse.
Correct.
And he finds himself on Nisos.
Yep.
But then again, Pratt wants to be in good graces with Bob.
Baffert. Yep.
And if anybody knows, Pratt's agent is a guy named Mr. Pegram, and he's very good friends with Baffert. And his what is it? His
alliance?
No, Brad. What's his relationship to the guy that used to own those horses like back in the day? Oh, I forgot. Brad.
Pegram is Pegram.
No, that is Brad.
Whitman.
His agent is his little brother. Is it or
maybe?
I know, and I met the guy just recently too. Real nice guy. But anyway, the Pegrams are real close to Pratt.
Yeah.
I mean, Pratt's agent is really close to the Baffert. And so I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if Pratt's making a bad move getting off the 11 to go on a horse who hasn't ran in so long. I mean, we saw today, guys. We saw today what happened with Speedboat Beach.
Hmm.
You know, it had a long break and just ran terrible today. Ate up a lot of money. That's another example of what Chris was talking about, though. If you looked at the odds in that race, I mean, I was kind of expecting Speedboat Beach to be like 4-5, 3-5, expecting him to be real low on the doubles. But when the race came up, he wasn't that low on the doubles, and he ended up going off at 3-2. You know, a horse like that, superior to the rest of the field, going off at 3-2, made me think that there might be some vulnerability with that horse. So that's another good thing about what Chris was talking about when, you know, to look at the odds. But I really think there's another race. See, you gave 5 horses a shot here, right, Chris? You were like,
I was just going to recap for you. The 5 horses that I gave, not in any particular order, but numerical order, was 2, 6, 7, 10, 11.
Okay. See, this is where we kind of differ. I really think you go 7, 10, 11 and just move on.
Okay.
Because I think 7 or 10, one of those horses, if not both, it will show its true talent and maybe win this race. And if not, the 11 is the horse that'll win if 7 or 10 don't fire their best. So that's what I think. But this is an example of what we're talking about, where one person could have a real strong opinion and the other one doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
the I'm all in on 7, 10, 11 here.
Yeah, the only reason I threw the 2 in there, I just want to be super, super honest, right? Like 2 for 2 at the distance, five tries over the Churchill dirt, and he's finished first, second, and third, you know, in those tries. But excuse me, the wet surface. If you go back and look at that November 6th race at Churchill, 7.5 allowance, you know, 132,000 non-winners at 2. He finished second by a head off of that sloppy track. That's the only reason I really gave him a look and put him in there, because if that track is sloppy later in the day, now we're looking at 3:23 Eastern time. I think that's when the weather was supposed to start coming in. I made that note on my form in the prior race. Look for weather to see if anything's going to change within the track surface. You guys got to make adjustments, right? Like, this is just something you need to be very aware of as a handicapper. If the surface is going to get changed, or if, you know, coming off the turf, obviously, and things like that. But I mean, if this track is going to take a ton of moisture and a ton of water, it's going to affect a lot. So just be aware of that, right? So that's why I have that 2-horse notated and saying, look, you know, watch the weather, see what's going on. But jockey trainer combo there, Jacob Davidson, Joel Ortiz, it's 43%. You can't really argue with that. When they team up, you got to pay attention. So that's something that I'm just notating here. And the horses run some phenomenal speed figures, you know, 106, 102. I mean, there's nothing in this race that has come, you know, very close to that in the recent history. So I think that's another reason why I threw that 2 in there. So
I really liked the 2. I was waiting to see what you guys picked, but that was the one that stuck out for me.
Wow. Good. All right, let's move on to race 9. This is a good race here.
American Turf, Grade 1.
Turf. It's on the turf. What'd you come up with, Chris?
Race 9. I was pretty much all about Zulu Kingdom, the 7.
Yeah. Major contender. Pratt, Chad Brown, proven on yielding, bred in Ireland. Hard not to like the 7. I think the 3 horse is the one that's hard not to ignore either. New Century, Irad, Brendan Walsh, who's Barnes doing well. Ran big in its debut, then didn't run good at Del Mar, went back to Great Britain, and is back here. I think these foreign horses are better than our American horses always. Wouldn't be surprised if the 7 and 3 run 1-2 in here and dominate this race. I will mention a horse in here that I give a shot to as a long shot, and it's the number 2 Scipio. This horse ran on good turf last time. and ran a big race. I like that race he ran. I think that race, if he could even improve just a little bit off that race, I think he could win this at a big price. Richard Baltus is high on this horse. Rispoli, he's a good turf jockey. Hopefully he doesn't make any mistakes and leaves this horse with too much to do. That's my only concern. I know Pratt got off this horse to ride the 7, which is understandable. But I think the Scipio, to me, this horse has just been visually impressive. Sometimes you just got to trust your eyes and say, hey, this horse is visually impressive, and, he might be a horse to step up. So I'm pretty much all in on 7-2-3 in this race, and mostly 7-3. So I got 7-3 as my A's and 2 as my B. And I will definitely be doing a 3-7 exacta box in this race, because I've seen it happen too many times where the foreign horses dominate on the turf. So 7-3 for me, and Chris has the 7.
And 7-3.
We got a couple of comments. Let's see. Zancroni Max says, look out for the 6. Ran on the turf once. I don't mind. When horses go from synthetic to turf, that's usually a small. I mean, that tells me they could make it. Bred by Maximum Security, so that's not necessarily turf breeding. But
no, I think he makes Zirconi Mad Max. You make a good point with the Maximum Promise, Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez. There, I think that's that's a good thing to point out there. For me, and just again, just being 100% transparent, I don't think he's good enough. He was on my sheet. If I had a B or C horse, he would definitely be on there. The one thing that I did love about Maximum Promise that I notated was his August 3rd race. I mean, that horse got the lead and just what we call freaked. I mean, he got the lead, got brave, and never looked back. I mean, winning by 14 lengths, that's just extraordinary, to say the least. But the reason I didn't, I'll tell you this too. The reason I didn't add or want to use him is because of that fairground sloppy race. He didn't run well on that surface. He didn't like it, in my opinion. So I figured if there was a wet track, that horse wasn't going to make my ticket.
Yeah, interesting horse there. Interesting horse. Oh, let me put him up on the board there. We could look at both horses that people in the chat room have talked about. 2 people in the chat room, Lorenzo and Garufo, both like the 10 horse in here. And, I wouldn't be shocked if the 10 won. I mean, look at the 10. He's a Southern California horse. I know this horse well. Philip D'Amato. This is a good horse here. Nothing wrong with him. I just sort of like the foreign horses more than the American horses. And I'm not too much in love with the 10 post either. There's a short run to the turn. So this horse unfortunately got the 10 post. But if he can overcome it and these 7 and 3 don't fire their best, I could definitely see the 10 winning. And then there's Zancroni Max, the rich man. He likes the 5 test score. And that's another horse similar to the 10. It's not my top pick, but I wouldn't be surprised if he won. Manny Franco rides this one and is a good turf horse. He's consistent. I mean, look at that. First, third, second, first. Horse tries. Got a lot of heart. In the money, 5 out of 6. So, all the horses that the viewers mentioned are interesting. Aces for Races likes the 4. So we all like different horses in here, it seems.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this, right? I'll just be, again, 100% transparent. A lot of those horses, just mentioned now, they've all been beaten by the other horses that we've mentioned. And I'm just being honest, right, guys? Like, I think that every horse has a shot. There's no right answer here. And I'm glad that we have a lot of different opinions, right? But just in the essence of the 5, right? Like, you look at how many black type horses are in front of him. You got Scorpio, Maui Strong, Charlie's to Blame, Maui Strong. Like, Zulu Kingdom. Like it's going to take a world's best effort for them to beat their counterparts today. And those are just, for me, like I said, I want to find the horses that are improving, and that is a world of improvement. They need to kind of come back and beat those tests, today. But test score did beat Scorpio and Maui Strong. Not going to deny it, but I think Charlie's to blame. Maui Strong beat test score the last time out. They flip flop. So I think that if you're going to use test score, you need to use Maui Strong because they're both right there with each other.
And you're using the 3, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good. Because Snaggle Bets, who I call Snuggy Bets, he likes the 3 as well. 3 is a major contender in this race.
Massive.
I would not leave the 3 out. I think I don't know if you agreed with me. I thought the morning line on the 7 was not very good, 4-1. I think the 7 will probably be 8-5, 9-5. Let's see if I'm right at race time. What were you thinking, Chris?
On these big days, Gabe, I feel like because of the full fields, you really, it's hard to get to 6-5, 9-5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's also more, casual money, people betting names and stuff. So that's true. You got to look at it. You got to look at that angle as well. So another good
move on to race 10. So guys, this begins the pick 5 for the Derby. There is a middle pick 5, and there's also one that was ending. And I'm sorry I didn't notate that earlier, but race 9 starts the pick 4 for the Derby. So race 9 is 9, 10, 11, 12. And then you have to go to race 8 to catch the Derby pick 5. So take note of that, guys. There's an ending pick 5 in the Derby where you end the pick 5. And then there's also a late pick 5 that does include the Derby, but it's also going to include, obviously, the later races after. So race 10 will also include the Derby, but ends in race 14. So there's a lot of opportunity there, guys, for you to kind of spread out some pick 5s and kind of get tricky with the ones that get crossed over to keep yourself alive, right? I mean, you want to bet against yourself as least amount of times as possible, but you want to give yourself the best chance to win, right? And be alive to some scores. So just take note of that, guys. A lot's going on. I urge every single one of you to place your bets early. And the reason I'm telling you that is because historically speaking, every major website crashes. FanDuel, TVG, 100% crash. You guys just need to know the amount of volume that these sites are pushing at this time because everybody wants to bet. Don't be one of those people that get caught out in the rain. Okay? Put your bets in early. Get them set. Be ready to go. Let everyone else scramble. You want to sit there and be able to enjoy what you're doing. So I'm just giving you that advice. I've done it the last 5 or 6 years. I put all my bets in. I don't look back. That's it. I'm locked in. I know what I want. And then I just enjoy the day and I follow along, right? I think that's just some, advice I've learned over the years because there's years where I'm scrambling. I'm just trying I got to get to the window. I am trying to finish up handicapping. And, I forget, I have forgotten, how much of an enjoyment it is to be at the races, so I typically want to enjoy that. And that's the plan. So please, I urge you guys, for the sake of getting shut out or getting your not your tickets in, just bet early. Please just do it. I promise you'll thank yourself later.
wonderful advice.
That was the best advice. Wow.
Yeah. Race 10, right? Are we race 10?
I'm still blown away by your wonderful advice.
Yeah, seriously. If you guys take away anything,
that was probably worth a $9.99 right there.
Absolutely. Yeah,
that was worth.
My wife's listening in. She said that was the best. So
that was $7.
She's ready to go drop the house now on the whole card. We're gonna go have a field day. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So race 10, you want to start us off?
It's my best bet of the day.
Oh, perfect.
I love a horse in here. This is the race where I'm going to make some money.
Uh-oh. Everybody get your pens ready.
Yeah, get your pens ready. Let's get the drum roll going. I already mentioned it in the chat. This is a good one. what is it? 8-1? 8-1 on the morning line. I love the number 2 Copian in here. Absolutely love the number 2 Copian. Mandela, if anybody knows, when Mandela takes horses back east, his record is remarkable. He is really good when he brings horses back east. Oh, you got him circled? Look at that.
That's all I wanted to show you. I wasn't going to cut you off. I'm going to let you finish.
No, that's good. See. And
I like Kimura as a great jockey.
Kimura is a great jockey. I love Kimura. And I
So,
love Copian. This horse is a
quick
friggin'
story.
monster.
Just a quick story, and again, confirmation bias to what you're seeing here, right? Like, and just for the listeners, this is where you guys get the inside, right? Like, I feel like people don't realize this. They're going to look at, that running line, December 26th, see Kimura winning, and then all of a sudden, February 1st, Santa Monica, you got Fresu on there. Fresu didn't take that mount. Unfortunately, Kimura was injured and wasn't able to ride. So Kimura getting back on this horse isn't really an angle at all. It's just him getting his mount back on his horse.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
So
that's where I say, when you know your circuit,
yes.
I always say, focus on one circuit as close as you can instead of spreading yourself so thin. That way you pick up on things like this. So that's very true. And a casual person might be like, well, this horse went from Kimura, then they took him off and put Fresu. No, but Kimura was injured. He hurt himself for a while, and he came back, and he was still a little gimpy. He was walking with a limp even when he came back. So, but he's a hard-knocking guy, great jockey. Never mind betting Kimura. I'd bet Kimura on anything. If he rode a Derby horse, I would feel 0% less confident than any other top jockey. I think Kimura is really good. I'm with Andrew on that one. Aces on that one. Kimura is a top class jockey. Anybody that's into Ragasons like I am, let me tell you, the last time this horse ran, he got a 3.
Whew.
He got a 3. This Copian is a monster. She is a good one. I even talked to Richard about this horse, and he loves this horse. His face lights up when he talks about her. And Mandela always has a really good horse, 1 or 2 in his barn, and this is his one. She's a monster, and whatever price we get, I don't know what it's going to be. I doubt it's 8-1, but hopefully it's good value. I'm telling you guys, Copian is the real deal, and Mandela will bring this horse out. When he brings his horses back east, they win. I hit a horse. I can't remember the name, but it was 2 years ago. Mike Smith rode it. It was in the summer. I was in Vegas, and he brought a horse out in the Travers, and he won. And I think that's the last time, Mandela brought out a horse last year to Kentucky Downs, and he won too. So, the sample size is very small because he usually doesn't bring horses back east, but when he does, there's a reason for it. So, we love the number 2 Copian. I love him. We're getting a lot of feedback in the chat on number 7 Volva. I got my mind in other places, I guess. Volva. What did you think of Volva? Or Vaha? What did you think of Vaha? I didn't have.
I circled it. I have them in. I have 4 horses that I liked in here. But yeah, that was definitely one of them.
Vaha, you like Vaha?
Yeah, I did. I circled the 1, the 2, the 7, and where was the other one?
It has to be the 8 or 9.
The 12, Hope Road.
You are going against both 8 and 9 in here?
I like the 13.
I can't use them all.
Wow. No, 8, because I think 8 or 9 are going to be bet pretty heavy.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ways and Means. Yeah. No, I had that horse. I circled that horse. And that's the last race that horse ran in was when I beat him with Soul of an Angel. That's why I didn't use him initially.
Yeah, I think
I got a horse. I got a horse here, combo. Got to be careful anytime you see Alvarado and Mott on the 15. Grand Job. That's a dangerous combination. So just want to.
He'll probably get in the race with the wet track. So
dangerous combination 330 times. That's a lot of mounts.
God, that is, isn't it?
Dude,
Be
that's the most
careful
I've seen.
when you see that combo.
God, is there another
Especially, yeah.
combo that gets together that much? I mean, I see Saez and
That's a goal.
Maker.
I'm a Gulfstream guy, so I see them a lot there. So
Mike Maker and Luis Saez 245.
that was the other one I was saying. I said my numbers were 15.
Look at that. Look at Baffert, Bob Baffert and JJ 237.
Yeah,
But look at the number difference. I mean, if you want to talk percentages there, just look at that. Like Hope Road, Bob Baffert, 237, almost 40% with the $1.76 ROI. And then you go back down to your Will Mott horse, right? 330, 17% and $1.58. That's just, it's wild.
that's crazy.
40% for $1.76, or you can drop down to 17% and still get $1.48.
Let's talk about the 11 in here because Louis V. Villalaba, he likes the 11. That's a pretty big race in this last race. He beat the 9.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that race.
This horse could be
I remember
improving.
this
He
race
could definitely
very
could be
closely.
improving to another good start here. I mean, off the layoff,
that's a good
second out, he could definitely run another big one right back.
You know, that's true. Third race off a layoff, might have another race on the improve. I remember that race. You know, this I'm a big fan. We haven't talked about this horse at all, and this is a major friggin' contender, the number 9, Emery. I mean, this horse done nothing wrong in its career. Second, first, second. And if you look at, she's the most gorgeous filly on the racetrack too. I know this horse very well. Proven at the track, Brad Cox. I remember this horse was really well regarded. I remember when she broke her maiden in the mud. I remember I was hearing things about this horse, like the talk of the town horse for like weeks. But the 11 beat Emery last time, and I bet Emery. I had a pretty decent wager on Emery in some kind of, I don't remember exactly, but I remember the 11 held her off pretty well. It was fair and square. So
is it fair to say if it's really muddy, do we look at 9 going Emery because we know he's been, doing well on the mud in the past?
Yeah, and then the breeding on other horses. The 1 can definitely tap it. That's good mud breeding, and the 2 Omaha Beach. I know that's good mud breeding. I remember. I don't have the stat in front of me, but it's major. So that's another reason why I like the 2 if it's muddy. I think the 2 will run really good. The Omaha Beach horses, they run real good on the mud. But talking about that 11, that 11's interesting. The 11 beat the 9, and the 9's 6-1, and the 11's 12-1. So you know what, Louis? I'm glad you mentioned that 11. And then we got one more question about the 13 here. What do you think about the 13, Chris? My man Squeeze. Can it hit the board?
My main squeeze.
My main squeeze.
Second off the layoff, didn't embarrass in the Madison. It's a tough race to come back to. I mean, these trainers are great, and you come out of a grade 2, you lay up for 5 months, and then you say, "Yeah, let's go in the Madison." And that takes some gusto. So second off the layoff, you're actually getting you're getting I believe a break, aren't you? No, we're going to grade 1 again. You're not really getting anything here with that. I just think you're coming back again. It's going to be a tough. You're getting Luis Saez. I like that. I definitely do. I wouldn't knock that at all. I think that Louis ran this horse the best. Manny Franco ran last out, but Luis Saez has been that pilot, 6-7 times. This horse is a knocker. He's definitely a trier. I don't see him winning. He's definitely run against some amazing horses. Torpedo Anna back in June 7th, 2004, Ways and Means, Emery. I mean, he's definitely got a lot to do here. And again, second off, why not? Who knows? But I think that he's definitely got a lot to prove if he's going to win this race. He's 2 for 2 at Churchill. That definitely fits into the narrative that we've been talking about. And he's 100% at the distance. So, as far as being in the money, I definitely wouldn't be leaving him off any trifecta or superfecta tickets. That's for sure.
Exactly. Let me mention something, Zencroni Max. This is the kind of race. There's 12 horses in here. And I got to say, there's a good 6 or 7 of them that are really, really good fillies. Somebody's got to run 5th in here. You have to. Somebody's got to run 5th. Somebody's got to run 4th. So, I mean, a good horse is going to run 4th in this race. So you got to think of it like that. I mean, you might like the 11, but you got to look maybe the 9, the 8, the 2, maybe Baffert's horse. Maybe somebody else might be better than the horse you like. So, that's why you got to look at this race. There's so many good horses in this race.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm going to key in on Copian, because I'm going to go Copian to win. And, I'm probably won't do any exactas or tries. I'm just going to try to get my win bet in. Hope Copian wins. Hope maybe try to have a pick 3 ending or a double ending to Copian. Because if the Copian doesn't win, I mean, I could see 5 or 6 other horses winning this race easily. It's a very competitive field. So just remember, a good horse is going to run 3rd and 4th in this race. A really good horse. So that's what you got to come up with in this race. So
call me crazy. You said something. Does that mean we play the super high 5? We just put all these great horses in?
Yeah. Is there a super high 5 in there?
What is a $1 five horse high 5 cost box? What is that?
I mean, I could see it, but I'd be
144.
Rich people like you would know these answers.
I don't play it.
Like me, they don't know these things.
It depends on how many you want to play.
No, 5 spots, 5 ways.
Yeah, I'm doing it now. It's $120.
Yeah,
it's Zancroni Max kind of money.
I mean, if they're really gonna, if you're really confident about the 5 that are gonna hit the board.
No, I think you would single Copian on top and then put the 4 under, and put the 4 under.
There you go.
If that comes in, I'm going to be sick.
If you do a key box,
that we talked about it, did bet it.
I mean, you could do it as a try too.
You do that a lot, where you talk about it and then you don't bet it, and it wins.
I know.
I do it a lot too. I give them out a lot too. So.
Oh, that's the worst. Tattoo LV's in here.
Oh yeah, he's the long shot hunter. We call him Exacta Jack.
All right,
Jack Zacta. He's the international.
One. Oh yeah, Jason, the next one. Yeah, thank God.
Oh, awesome.
I thought, you know what I was thinking about when I saw Nick's one? Remember the horse Nick's win or Nick's one?
Nick's go.
I would bet that.
Oh, it was Nick's go. You're right.
Yeah, that was a slam dunk racing horse.
Exactly, that gray horse that won during COVID.
Yep. He won a Breeders' Cup race.
Yeah.
They put a mask on that guy.
All right, moving on to race 11.
Moving on.
The Turf Classic Grade 1 mile and an eighth. The Old Forester Bourbon Turf Classic. If you've never had Old Forester, don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. It's all right.
It's not that great.
No, this is $1 million race, guys. So these horses are racing for $1 million. And a lot of these are already $1 million earners.
Delayed.
These guys are making a lot of money. These guys are making a lot of money, huh?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I remember this race now. Sorry, guys. I got, you look at all these races. I've had to look how many, 12, 24, almost 40 races for the next 3 days.
Yeah. Remember, I already looked at Santa Anita too, man. I
did too.
My eyes are burning for you.
Bro,
guys.
I have some bombs at Santa Anita. Hey, for everyone listening, and again, thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And Aces and Gabe, thank you guys for joining. But I want to make one more kind of comment about Santa Anita. People forget it exists on Derby Day. And what I mean by that, all the attention is over in Kentucky, okay? And over back here in California, where Gabe and I are, there are so many sneaky things that are going to happen, and jockeys that are going to just outsmart the rest of the colony, because all of those other jockeys are over there, right? All the good jockeys, or whatever you want to call it, the money mate, whatever you want to say, this is when you can now find value at Santa Anita, and the jockeys that have gone, like you're going to see them because they were obviously in the last running line, but the jockeys that take those mounts are going to be super telling. Okay. You want to watch out. Obviously, Hector Barrios is still here. You're going to watch him on the turf. He's on some 12-1 shot tomorrow in one of those races. And I'm just like,
Jason mentioned him.
Oh, did he?
Jason Ballier, yeah. He mentioned Barrios. So
yeah, they're just great horse tomorrow.
I'm going to co-sign that too.
But Saturday at 12-1 for sure. I think this horse is just money. But anyway, point being, pay attention. If you're going to still bet Santa Anita, pay attention to the jockeys, who jumps on what, and in what race you're kind of getting those, better stacked odds with the Hector Barrios on the turf or whatnot, right? So, anyway.
Well, you know what, Chris? There's a flip side to that coin.
Go ahead.
There's a flip side to that coin. Now, yes, there will be people ignoring Santa Anita, but there will also be some carryover from people betting Santa Anita that normally don't.
True. Very true.
They're going to be at,
board
TVs and at the track and watching it on TV, and they say, hey, well, there's going to be longer times between races at Churchill, like 30, 40 minutes. Yeah. So in between that time, they might want to be entertained with Santa Anita. I was just talking about that with my very good friend, Ed Burgart, who I've been hanging out with here in Laughlin. And he told me one of his favorite days is Derby Day.
Mm-hmm.
And because he specializes in Los Alamitos. Mm-hmm. He told me there's more casual money, more uneducated money Saturday night on Derby night at Los Alamitos than any other night of the year.
That makes sense.
People are carrying over from the Derby, and they're like, they have money, they want to bet, they're drinking, they're betting names, they're betting big pick fours.
Yep.
So
this is great advice. Great advice.
We're gonna talk about some of that dumb money later in race 12, and we'll touch on a little bit of that. But in race 11, we got to keep moving here. I went 7-1-10 in that order, just because I think Running Bee has run the best figures as of late. But I do like the 10 and the 1 much the same. I'm actually boxing those 3 horses, and yes, I'm leaving out the. Where is it? The 5 horse. I'd rather be blessed. That horse has beaten a few of these a couple different times, but just that 7 horse for me with Pratt getting aboard for Chad Brown just spoke everything I needed to see.
Can you see my paper?
Yeah. 10-1-7. That's how we do it, guys.
10-7, but
I went 7.
Well, 110 equal. To me, 1 or 10 and then 7.
Yeah.
Wow. So, see how we weren't agreeing at first, but now we're starting to really see things. See, that's how it goes, guys. You never know when you got 2 people going. That's like we said, it's the beauty of horse racing. We could disagree fully and then we'll agree fully. So, let's see. Hector horses are live. Yes, he'll be. Oh, I was just looking at the chat, seeing if anybody else agrees.
You're good.
Are you going 110-7 in your pick 3, pick 4s, pick 5s, all that?
I am. Those are the only 3 that I'm going to use.
Okay, good. I love that. Love that. It's like you said, let's move it along. Nobody's asking any questions. You want to mention one thing about this race?
The Derby or the 11?
The 11th.
Oh, go ahead.
Just the Spirit of St. Louis is just such a nice horse, and Snagbet says he likes the 7. So he agrees with us. We love that.
Running Bee, absolutely.
So you know what? You mentioned a 110-7 exacta box. See, I wasn't even thinking of that.
Always. Yeah. I love the 3 horse exacta box because you're going to get a price. You're going to get more than $6, right? I think that as a fundamental better, like you got to understand, you're going to put up 6, you got to win more than 6. You know what I mean? If you're going to bet 3 favorites, you're not going to get $6 back. You're going to get 420, 380, whatever it may be, and you're going to lose money. But in these situations, I think even with Spirit of St. Louis 9-2, the 1 4-1, you're going to get that $11, $10 exacta in that race. And I feel like those 3 horses are the race. It really kind of solidified it for me when I looked at it.
Real quick, Louis says he likes the 6, Taking Candy. What's funny is that would definitely be my 4th horse in here.
Yeah,
He's
because he ran
interesting
second
horse.
he ran second to Running Bee. So that makes sense. Obviously, he was just a length and a half behind. That's the only.
Yeah, good workouts.
Sheree
Jose
DeVoe is
Ortiz.
amazing.
How come Irad's not? He's on the 4. Oh well, Chad Brown.
Chad Brown.
Yeah, that's why. That's 4. All right. Well, now we're gonna go.
Now Andrew is going to lead us in the Old Kentucky Home song, so we can go ahead and prepare for the Derby. Andrew, take it away.
So I
Oh, he's
no,
not. I was believing you.
I
God.
know, man. I set you so up there, man. No, I'm just
You
kidding.
set me up there. I was getting ready.
I know.
Oh my
My daughter.
No, so if you guys haven't already heard, Rodriguez is out. The scratch the 4 horse there on your screen. Unfortunately, he had a quarter crack in his hoof, and they're not taking any chances. It's funny what you read on the internet. I heard bruised, I heard broken, I heard all these different things, and I called a good friend of mine who told me that it's just a slight quarter crack. Some trainers would actually probably run on it. Bob is not one of those trainers. He's not going to risk the horse and doesn't feel that he needs to prove anything to anybody. So we went ahead and we scratched that horse. So 4 is out, which means Baeza has drawn in, and they will be wearing the 21 post or 21 saddlecloth. So all the way out in the far gate. And, you know, I'll start there. And I think that just for me, because I was really hoping and praying that Baeza would get into this race. And selfishly, I'm happy, obviously, that he did. And I wish, you know, Rodriguez the best and hope that he's fine, and all the other horses that aren't going to make it to the gate. I hope that, you know, everything moves forward for them as they want. And I know they're actually pointing Rodriguez to the Preakness. So Baeza finished second to Journalism, and that's important because Journalism got into a ton of trouble on that racetrack that day. And this is something that people have conflictedly said back and forth. He did or he didn't. It wasn't that bad or it isn't. And I'm not a jockey, right? But I've talked to a ton of jockeys, and I can tell you that from the ones that I know and I've talked to, whenever a horse who's 1,100 pounds gets stopped on the rail or stopped at all and has to regain momentum to continue to close, that takes a special animal. That takes a special horse to actually be able to do that. Most horses are going to stop and lose momentum and not continue on. So I urge you to go back and watch that race as they enter the far turn coming for home. You're going to see Umberto Rispoli kind of sit back in the saddle and drop and then have to come off of the rail out and around to get up.
Make a bet on the over and under on that horse's weight? Can I bet over 1,100?
You probably could. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm just using round numbers.
Yeah.
But you go back and watch it again. And again, conflicting stories, conflicting takes on the race, right? I'll give it to you. Whatever you want to say, that's fine. But what was more important for me to see was Baeza really kind of fighting back on. And I'm not saying that Journalism really wasn't pulling away. I think that he was kind of getting ground away from Baeza. But in this small case, I'm going to say that Baeza getting that 21 post is going to work in his advantage because he's going to need to kind of get out and in front of some of these horses to even have a shot, right? I think that most Derby people and most people that have watched or know the Derby, they just think that secondary auxiliary gate is death, right? Like from 15 post out, you're just in trouble. So I am using Baeza. There is a world that I'll live in where I actually have Baeza on top in a dream, in a fantasy. But it's going to be worth the $24, superfecta or the $24 trifecta, because if he wins, it's just going to pay balloons, right? And I'll tell you, it's straight going to be Baeza, Journalism, Baeza, Journalism to Sandman, Coal Battle, East Avenue, and Render Judgment. Those were the horses that I was going to use under.
Wow.
I was going to throw in Burham Square and whatnot, just depending on how much I could actually do it. But
very bad.
Yeah, thanks, Gabe.
Now you're leaving out a horse, man. I don't.
Well, that's just one world, like I said. So, but that Baeza is going to make the bottom half of the ticket. There's no world that I don't live in, guys, where journalism isn't my pick. I think journalism by far 100% is the number one horse to beat in the Derby. But as history shows us, the best horse doesn't always win. You have a lot of troubled trips. You have a lot of things that can happen at any point in the race. You can get stopped. The kickback, the mud. There's just so many things, right? And you just don't know. But I do believe that, yes, journalism is the horse to beat. There is no way around saying that. 100%. I will have tickets him singled in pick 5s, pick 3s, pick 4s, because, yeah, he is the horse to beat. But, there are dreamer tickets out there that I play, right? You got to kind of dream and hope and do it for a little bit of money to kind of take a stab at it and, kind of get to mind that bird 50-1 maybe. So, that being said, journalism, Baeza, and the third horse for me, I'm gonna go Kenny McPeak, the 15, render judgment. I hope Kenny gets his first not first, a back Kentucky Derby.
No chance.
No chance.
They play this back if that horse wins. I don't care.
Just like Soul of an Angel.
No,
I think you said that about Soul of an Angel too.
No, I didn't.
We'll play that tape back.
Hey, I bet that horse.
I hope so. I gave it to everybody.
Well, I mean, at the time, that was Van Dyke. You can't blame anybody for thinking
Not
he
wanting
would win
to
a
bet?
Breeders' Cup. You
right.
didn't
Track
give up
8.
on Van Dyke.
I have now.
You have now. Now, if you give up on him.
Well,
All right, so what were your horses in there before I get started?
journalism.
You and I couldn't be more different in this, so let me just say so.
That's fine. And render judgment.
And I can't believe you talked about all these horses and you didn't even mention the horse that I really like in this race.
Uh-oh. Here it comes.
I like Sovereignty in here a lot.
Really?
Number 18. Yes.
18.
Number 18.
Tell
This
us
is a
why,
good
Gabe.
one. And hey, Andrew, can you remind
There's
me?
that combo. There's that combo
I was
again.
going to tell Andrew to remind me about that combo that
Mott and
love.
Alvarado on the big races. I've heard a little birdie told me that.
It's like a dolphin.
My father-in-law, who's been doing this for many, many years and moons.
I think this horse comes out of 2 really good prep races. I think this race is pretty top heavy. If anybody's listening and really cares about what I think about this race, I think it's pretty top heavy. I really like 4 or 5 horses in here. I'm pretty confident. I'm usually not that confident. There's a lot of horses in here I throw out, and I'll put my.
And I named about 4 of those for you guys.
Chris named about 3 of them that I don't like whatsoever. I don't know how he came up with these horses, but sometimes Chris, surprises us and comes up with something. Or sometimes these horses just know that Chris is betting them, so they decide to run better. It seems to happen a lot.
I have a lot of influence with the equine animals.
Exactly, they see Chris, they know what's going on. But let me just say, I think Sovereignty is the horse in here. This horse has done nothing wrong. He's a really nice horse. I think he comes out of the best prep races. Florida Derby and Fountain of Youth. This horse is really coming up. I think we haven't seen his best. I think there's another step up. 1.25 miles will be fine. The wet track will be fine as well. I don't see anything wrong. Junior Alvarado, very good jockey. So I got the Sovereignty on top. I also have his speed figures as being one of the best in the race too. The horse I'll pick second, of course, will be the number 8 Journalism, who's an obvious contender, probably the best horse in the race. But let me give my reasons why I'm a little concerned. First of all, he's going to be the favorite, and he's got Rispoli, who scares me to death. Anytime I bet Rispoli, I'm always fearful.
It's his first Derby, too.
Chris is around me as much as anybody. He knows I don't like betting Rispoli. He gives a lot of rides where he gives horses way too much to do.
Too much to do. Yep.
And if you look at this last race, he got in trouble in a 5-horse race. That's how Rispoli is. He could find trouble where there is none. So what is he going to do in a 20-horse race with mud flapping all over the place, with 150,000 people screaming, in the stands and all that? So Rispoli scares me a little bit. He is the complete opposite of Flavien Prat, who's a cool customer, calm, collective. Rispoli's, very, Italian, high, he's emotional and stuff. So, but horse-wise, I mean, Chris and I saw Journalism about a month ago on the track, and we were blown away by how he looks. And this horse is one of the best-looking horses you'll ever see. Big, striking monster. Looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger if a horse could look like that. So he'd be my second pick. My third pick in here, I like Burnham Square. Now you kind of like Burnham Square, right, Chris?
Yeah, no, I have Burnham Square in a superfecta that I'm going to play with Journalism on top. Burnham Square is in there to fill in the second, third, and fourth spot. Burnham Square is just one of those. He got a great post position in 9, right? And I think that you get the best jockey, right? If I ever had, and I'm going to say this out loud, if I ever had a Derby contender, I'm calling Brian Hernandez. There's no one else I'm calling. Like, I'm fully convinced that guy is the best Derby jockey. And if it's not him, it's Calvin Burrell.
You know what? I mean, I totally agree. And he's another jockey where the moment's not too big for him.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody like Rispoli, the moment might be too big for him.
It could, I can tell you this, dude. Like, I think that Rispoli deserves everything that he's gotten, right? Like, he's come across from Europe. He's come here and he's made a name for himself, and he's done really well in getting himself into this position. I won't knock him for any of that, right? And this isn't even a knock. I think that it's true what you said earlier. This is his first Kentucky Derby. He's going to get the mud thrown in his face early in those earlier races, right? And he's going to really kind of get a feel for that track. And, I'll be watching to see kind of how he reacts in those situations. I think he's breaking from that 1 hole in those earlier races, if I'm not mistaken, which it's really going to put him in the 2 hole with Scypian, right? That's in the 9th race. But the earlier race I mentioned, he's gonna be able to kind of get a good experience, right? Like I was talking about. So if that horse gets in trouble, or he gets that horse in trouble, I'm gonna have Nick's Code. He's breaking from the 1 hole in the first race, so he's gonna get all the mud he can get from that hole. And I think that being a first time starter, you really can't judge the horse. But the point I'm trying to make is I agree with Gabe. I think that there is a chance that Humberto kind of gets nervous, or kind of gets the nervy kind of feels in the gate. And I've told this to many, many people that I've talked to, and I've told Gabe this. Horses are so intuitive to feelings that if you're nervous, they're going to be nervous, right? And you don't even have to be on their backs. You could be in front of them. You could be petting them. If you have that nervous feeling, horses feel that. And if there's any ounce of nervousness with Humberto Rispoli on his back, Journalism's going to know that, and that could definitely take some points away, right? I think that with the traffic, there's just so many things that can happen, guys. And Gabe, you might be right, you might be wrong, right? And that's the beauty of it. But at the end of the day, I would have to agree that there is a 33% chance Humberto gets that horse in trouble and somehow kind of loses it for himself, right? It's just one of those things. But I hope it doesn't happen. I want California horses to represent us well. I hope that Michael McCarthy gets his first win in the Kentucky Derby, as well as Humberto. They both deserve it. It would represent California super well. And I think that anything can happen, but we're all betting people on this forum. So I think that, again, the smart money would be Journalism, but I would not be shocked if he lost.
I think both Journalism and Sovereignty, they have that trip that I like, where they're going to be off the pace and they're going to make the move. They won't be too far back because you don't want to be too far back. But also with Journalism, I honestly think Journalism has the absolute perfect style for the Kentucky Derby, because he is that horse that goes a little bit off the pace, and with, like you said, with that big 1,100, I think more like 1,300 pound frame of his, it takes a while to get him going.
Yeah.
You know, you got to wind up when you're that big. But he's that kind of horse that just gets better as the race gets longer. And his style is he'll what's the word I'm looking for? He will keep getting better as the race goes further. He'll so that's why I like Journalism. If Rispoli doesn't mess it up, I think Journalism wins. But I do like Sovereignty for value purposes. I'm definitely going to have an 8-18 exacta box. A horse I want to mention, I do like Burnham Square. I don't think Burnham Square is going to win. But like I said, like we both said, Brian Hernandez, very good trainer. And he's what do you call it? I mean, Brian Hernandez, very good jockey. Sorry, I was reading the comment for a second. And he's not one, and like Chris also said, very good post too. Now there's another horse in here. This is my big bomb. We all have to have a big bomb in the Derby, right?
Sure.
Right? I mean, everybody's got to have a big bomb.
Mine had no shot, so maybe yours.
Well, you might think mine has no shot. You might think mine has no shot. And it's a horse I typically wouldn't like, but I just think there's something there. And I watched the race, the Wood Memorial again. You know, Grande ran a pretty damn good race. I ask you to watch it again. Might have been the best horse. You know, he was 5-6 wide the whole way. While Rodriguez was on the rail. Getting the perfect trip. This Grande was wide. He had a funky trip. It was
John Velasquez.
Yeah. Now John Velasquez is on it. Another jockey who is not too big for that's good on the big stage. Pletcher, another trainer who likes to get horses ready. I know this horse is lightly raced, but I think this is a really, really good horse. Grande. I don't know. I'm not sure he could win, but if, crazy things happen in the Derby.
Well, I can tell you that Mike Rapoli would absolutely love Grande to win. I think that, again, kind of referring back to that Chase for the Crown, Mike Rapoli is a big character in that. Really good for horse racing. If you're on X or Twitter, formerly Twitter X now, Rapoli Stables just ignites the world in some awesome conversation, has some great insight, self-proclaimed commissioner of racing, just a very loud voice, right? But very good voice for the racing industry, and super happy and proud to have someone like that representing racing in a lot of different forms, including governments, to keep these tracks alive and running. So appreciate that to Mike Rapoli and Rapoli Stables. But you're not wrong, dude. Gabe, I think that this horse, I will go back and watch the Wood to see exactly what you're talking about. But Mike's not putting this horse or isn't having this horse in this race just because. I think that he really does think that he has a shot here to take it and to win because of the running style. Post position 10 is very complementary to where he needs to be within the race. We talk a lot about being in certain situations in a race, and a lot of people forget, 20 horses on a racetrack it's a traffic jam on the 405 sometimes, right? Like, you really got to get a good clean trip. And the guys that are kind of stuck down on the inside, they have kind of one pace to go. They got to go now. And the same thing with the guys on the outside. They kind of got to go now. So you're going to get this kind of cone effect from the inside outside. And those inside horses are going to be perfectly set to kind of just sit right off of those paces and force those horses on the outside to either go up or go behind them. So being in those middle spots, I believe truly it's more like post 5 out to like 12. Anything beyond that, you're going to kind of be into that that outer lane or inner lane where you have to decide, right? And are you going to spend your horse now, or are you going to kind of wait to spend your horse later, right? These animals only have so much fuel. They only have so much kick, right? So if you're going to use that in the first turn, that first quarter mile into that first turn, you know, that kind of counts against you, you know, the tastics that's going to have to run out. I even think, you know, render judgment's going to kind of get caught having to kind of go, right? You know, we can kind of spend the next 5 minutes talking about pace. I think Gabe is going to be helpful. Where do you think the most pace is going to come from? Is it East Avenue?
Citizen Bull on the rail.
So, okay. So I've heard conflicting things about that. I've heard that because he did draw the rail, he's going to kind of just take kind of a normal start and not really urge to go. That's something that, you know, kind of plays into that Del Mar Futurity type race, but that isn't the race he can win with, right? You know, but I think that even going to the lead isn't a race that he can win with and going 1.25 miles. So I think, you know what I mean? Kind of deductive of reasoning here. I would take Citizen Bull out. The 2, Nicosis, he's got to go too. He's just shown tons of speed in all of his races, but I don't think he can get the distance.
No.
3, Final Gambit, deep closer for Brad Cox, right? If he's one of those horses that, again, kind of on the inside, he's going to be compressed down from everyone else that's kind of moving down onto him. That spot 4 obviously is gone now. Rodriguez is out. American Promise, another speed horse. He's going to have to he's going to have to go to keep his position from getting crossed over from anyone coming, obviously, from the 6 posts out. So he's going to, again, have to kind of give a lot of early speed. And we didn't talk about the 2 Japanese horses coming in, but Admire Daytona, you know, this horse has gotten a ton of attention. And I actually saw a couple of the workouts of this horse on FanDuel, and the horse looks great. I'm not sure if you've heard anything, Gabe, on this horse, but he's one of the few that have gone 1.25 miles and won.
Yeah.
But again, journalism, he has that off-pace running style. So that's going to fit. Again, he's going to place himself in a good spot. He's going to be in the middle of that compression from the inside or outside with that speed. So as long as he is able to make the break and get a clear run into the first turn, he's going to be sitting probably 3rd or 4th. What do you think, Gabe?
Who?
Journalism.
I think journalism is going to be about 8th.
You think he's going to sit that far back?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he'll be a little bit closer. We'll have to see how that transpires. But Burham Square,
Remember, there's 20 horses in this race. So I mean, you know, being 8th is sort of like being 4th.
Sure, I get your correlation there.
This is how I think the pace is going to be. I think 1 and 2 are going to be the 1, 2, and 12 are the speed horses. I think 5. I don't know if I keep hearing 20 might scratch. Owen Almighty. I don't know if he'll run, but I don't think that horse could go 1.25 miles. There's a lot of horses in there I don't think could go the distance. That's the thing about the Derby. If anybody who's new to horse racing or even you know, these horses are running 1.25 miles in front of 150,000 fans, carrying 126 pounds, and they're when this race is over, like 90% of the horses are never going to run 1.25 miles again in their lives. Probably maybe 3 or 4 horses out of this race will ever run 1.25 miles again, you know, or further. Well, I mean, maybe 5 or 6 because they might run in the Belmont, but you know, or the Preakness, which is less than 1.25 miles. But I'm just saying, a lot of these horses are never going to run this distance again. It's a it's a distance that they don't run many races. Usually, just the big races. You don't see like allowance races, 1.25 miles too much, and you know, so that's the thing. So I have the speed being 1, 2, 12, 5, 20. I don't know what the Japanese horses are going to do. And I think the closers are going to be, I think Baeza, Sandman, Burnham Square, they're going to be all the way back there. I'm thinking Sovereignty will be back there too a little bit. But if maybe journalism, I guess it depends on the break and how the race is going. But I would be happy if journalism is laying like fourth or fifth.
Yeah.
Kind of with nobody
In the
around
clear.
them too much. So maybe that's the trip they're looking for. That's very interesting. I can't wait to see how that happens.
I want to go back to a comment that I made earlier about dead money or dumb money. The owner of the 17, Sandman. Okay. There's this gentleman that he's a big influencer on Instagram and TikTok. He's got 2.4 million followers. Okay. 2.4 million followers. And he's talking about the Kentucky Derby. He's talking about the sport, which is obviously tremendous and great and no knock to it. But you got to think about this from a money perspective. What is that doing to the pools? Where is that money and all these people going to put their money when they hear this guy talk? Well, they're going to put it on Sandman, and that's really going to substantially bring down those odds. And I'm not knocking the horse by any means. I'm making you aware and cognitive of what's happening in those pools and why there's so much money being played on that horse, okay?
Yeah.
So this is just more of an informational statement. I want you to understand that when you see Sandman, 4-1, 3-1, it's not because the horse really has that ability, in my opinion. It's because of all this money that has been talked about over social media. And I think that there's been a couple shows that have already mentioned this. But this is something that I was thinking about from day one. Like, dude, this guy's got 2 million followers. He's going to make 2 or 3 posts and he's going to get 10,000 likes. And all these people are going to go put $2, $3, $4, $10, $20 to win. And that's going to substantially bring down odds. But on the flip side of that, it's going to help us on other horses, right? And don't get me wrong. I think Sandman does have a shot at getting the distance and winning. I just think that, again, Publisher, Coal Battle, the horses that has run against in the past, Sovereignty has already beat him, Owen Almighty, right? Like, I think that these horses are definitely up against it. So when I throw that in with all the money that's being thrown in with all these outside influence, I have to just cognitively know that, look, you're going to have lower odds on this horse. He's probably not going to be worth it. You got to kind of just leave him out only because the value isn't going to be there, right? I'm not going to let this horse go off at 3-1 and think that he is a legitimate contender. That's just not
Every
in my
year
world.
there's a horse like Sandman.
Yeah, correct.
Sandman is going to be the public darling, and it doesn't hurt that the horse is like a light gray too. People are going to like that as well. That gets a lot of people betting horses. I think he's the only light gray horse in the race too. So that's going to make the horse stand out too. What do you hear all the time with people coming to the track for the first time? Oh, look, that horse is
That
gray.
horse is gray, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll get some money. And remember these $2 bets, like $2, $4, $5, $10 bets, like Chris said, they add up when it's thousands upon thousands of people. So, I mean, there was a horse 6 years ago. I forgot the horse's name, but it was the year the Justify won. And there was a horse named Jack. Desorma was on it, something Jack. And
yeah.
The horse went off at 6-1, and he should have been 30-1. But everybody was betting it because of the name.
Yep.
And Sandman is going to be about 4 to 5 levels lower than he should be. Sandman is going to be bet, and I think Sandman is a trifecta horse, superfecta horse. I don't think he's going to win. I'd be pretty surprised if he does win. I mean, maybe he can. I mean, this is Derby. Multiple horses could get in trouble, and something weird happens. But I'm going to go against him on the win end because there's zero value on the horse. One horse I want to mention that we haven't talked about who I think has a shot.
Who's that?
The number 7, Luxor Cafe. This is a nice little horse. I know these Japanese horses never win.
It came close last year.
Huh?
Forever Young, right? Last year?
Yeah, Forever Young ran real big last year. And, we never know how good or bad the
Invaders
3-year-old colony is.
Yeah.
And so if our colony isn't as good as we thought, and the Japanese colony is really good, I mean, this Luxor Cat ran big last time. So I'm going to give Luxor. Cafe a look. I'm definitely going to put in a little double action on him with that 11 horse that's going to win on tomorrow or Friday. So I'm going to put a little bit of money on Luxor Cat. I think
Okay.
that horse can win. The horses I think can win are Luxor Cat, Journalism, and Sovereignty. Those are my top horses. My B horses are going to be Burnham Square and Grande. And C horses, maybe Sandman I'll put as a C. And was there anybody else in here? Maybe Citizen Bull if he somehow breaks. And
No shot.
yeah, probably not.
That's
I mean,
my
you're
no
right.
shot horse for you, pal.
Yeah, I mean, just in case he broke really good and got a
He
2-length lead and everybody else took back, and
East Avenue is going to cook him.
he has to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I even think American Promise will be right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Does
just
the
sometimes
11
weird things
have
happen.
any chance? Does the 11 Flying Mohawk have a chance or no?
I think no, but that's a good name.
I like the 11. I'm a numbers guy.
Hey, watch the 11 win this race, and then we all
Perfect.
look.
And we all, Aces was the guy.
Last time he ran 9 for
Oh yeah, you're right. Luxor Cat's ran in Japan, but born in Kentucky. You're right.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at one of the comments. Sorry, I mentioned he was born.
Lewis is calling out Gabe on or Cafe.
They're asking if we like any long shots in here. Well, I gave out Grande. I don't know if you guys heard, but I think Grande's.
I like the 11 and Tistastic is the 14.
Yeah, Andy likes 11 and 14. And who are your long shots, Chris?
I mean, I gave out Journalism, Rendered Judgment.
Oh yeah, Chris likes Rendered Judgment, the 15. I like the 10, and Aces likes 11 and 14. I also think the 7 has a chance too. If you're looking for a long shot, the 7 and 10 for me. Andrew Aces at races 11 and 14, and then Chris is 15. Rendered Judgment. So those are the long shots that we have in here. How about you guys? You guys like any long shots that are in the comment section? Oh no. I've been hearing a lot of talk about this Final Gambit number 3. Did you give him a shot, Chris? Just we go over every horse of the race. You know what I mean?
Final Gambit for me. Where is he?
He just looks like a step below these to me. But I see a lot of people liking him. People I respect like him.
He's run the distance because for me, when I look at a race like this, anyone that's won at like 9 furlongs plus get some credence in my book personally.
I don't knock him, Gabe. I just think that if you look at the competition and you see the horses that are running, and they've all typically run against each other in one race or another, and then you get to Final Gambit, he's ran against Flying Mohawk. Like, that's it.
I bet Flying Mohawk gets some money.
So, I mean, that's just one of those situations. If you're going to go and say that that's the winning race, that Final Gambit and Flying Mohawk are those horses that came out of the best race, and those are the horses that are going to win, then you have to play an exacta with those two on top to your Journalisms and whatever, because those horses basically ran the same race.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
If you like Flying Mohawk, you got to use Final Gambit or vice versa, because again, like, they're both going to improve off the efforts. I think that Ramos and Flying Mohawk can only move forward third off the layoff. I think that Jeff Ruby Stakes was a great, he was bumped and bothered at the start, so he was able to make up ground. But if you look, he's taking the blinkers off. He's going to get that horse awake now. He's going to be able to let him look around. And the only time he's been able to do that is his first start at Saratoga on the turf, right? And I mean, that's not really telling, but he's worn the blinkers every time since then. And now we get into the Derby and he's going to take them off. You could liven that horse up a little bit, I guess, like that. But just my point is, if you're going to play Final Gambit, you need to play Flying Mohawk and vice versa, because again, they're coming from that same race. And I just feel like if you're going to have an opinion about one, they both came from that same race and should definitely prove that that's the race. Like I said, then that's the race that's going to win the Derby. But I don't know how many. I think the Jeff Ruby Stakes is not high on the list of Derby winners coming out of their races. It's usually the Florida Derby, the Santa Anita Derby, or the Fountain of Youth, right?
Well, I will say 2 years ago, a horse I really liked a lot named Two Phils came out of that race and ran
That's
very
right.
good. That was a horse I really loved. I wish he would have won that race. I believe he was the best horse of that race. He made a little early move, and then Mage got him.
Mage, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was there at the Derby.
Oh, that was the year you were there.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, similar to Mage, Grande,
Yeah.
right? Lightly raced horse, improving. There's something there, I think.
Zen in the comments, do you guys have any Derby doubles picks for Oaks and Derby? Actually, I played one last night. Not gonna lie, I put one in, and I'll show it to
He's
you.
betting early, like I told you guys to do.
Change it because Rodriguez is out, so I'll show it to you. It's right here.
Oh, you're not keying the 11 anymore?
No, I will. This was just so I didn't forget. Okay, so if I forgot, I still had something to play, right? I was there, but no, I'm gonna do another one, 11 on top in the Oaks, to those same three horses, maybe another fourth one now that Rodriguez is out.
Wow.
But for $12, the doubles, the lowest it can pay if it goes 11.8, which would be paying $646. That's not the best of worlds, right? I think that's where I have that, $20 double, 11.8. That'll make up for it. You know what I mean? But if the 9 or 14 win, you're going to get $60-$70 on $12, which is great.
I just think Good Cheer's just going to be awfully tough to beat.
No, for sure.
So my double is going to be, I'm going to go 11 in the big race. I mean, in the big race, in the Oaks. And then I'm going to do the 7, Luxor Cat, the 8, Journalism, the 10, Grande, and the 18, Sovereignty. And I'll go extra on Journalism and Sovereignty. I'll do kind of like a weighted bet where I get, put maybe 3 times as much on them. And then because I'll get the same amount if Grande or Luxor Cat wins, I don't want to go too much on it. So I don't want to bet against myself too much. But that's what I will be doing. 11 to the 7, 8, 10, 18. And then I'll go extra to the 8 and 18. And that's all I'm going to do in that. And then I'm definitely going to do a 8-18 exacta box too in this race. Because sometimes, sometimes these hard races come out formful. The favorite one every year between Orb and Maximum Security that year, or the year before Maximum Security won, 6 years straight, the favorite one. So
really?
Sometimes
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We had Orb.
I believe you. Justify, American Pharaoh, both of those were, 4 years?
California Chrome.
Well,
Nyquist. That other horse was the favorite too. That one with Johnny V. Always Dreaming. That was the favorite. So, and let's see. Wait, somebody's asking.
Jason has a question for you.
Well,
what's the best thing to do with $1,000 on Derby Day?
God, that's a tough one. That's a question you got to put some thought into, right?
I think
for me, it's definitely like a big pick 5, bro, and just pray.
Pray 5.
A pray 5 is right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would do that. Or pray. I could do a pray 5.
Whatever I had left, I would just put on the nose of Journalism. So I'd probably put in like a 600 just to be dumb. But even then, I think that 600 I would be singling Journalism just to see the spread everywhere else and catch.
Yeah. Are we going to do the 13th and 14th?
Yeah,
real
let's
quick?
go. Let's go. I think we spent enough time on there for sure.
Yeah. 2.5 hours into this. And if you guys ever have any other questions, you could always hit any of us up, Aces and Races. You can find him on Instagram. Vix Paddock Pick, you can find him on Instagram. Find me on Twitter and Instagram. Just ask us anything you want, and we'll happily answer you. We're three of the most transparent people you'll ever find in this game, and we're very easy to contact, and we answer in timely matters too. We love to be asked questions. We love to answer. So, just real quick, any of you listening, if you want to ask us a question later, feel free to, because remember, Aces and Chris, not everybody is listening live. We're going to have a lot of people watching this on video. A lot. Probably 3 times as much that are listening live. So
yeah, we'll have the video after.
Yeah,
I'll send it out tomorrow.
Yeah, the video is going to be very popular. So anybody that's watching the video, they can't ask us a question. But you know what? Yes, you can. Go to Aces, go to Chris, or go to me. We'll happily answer. Now, going into the 13th race, what were your picks in here, Chris?
I was pretty straightforward. 14 on top. I like that horse second off there after the maiden win. I think the horse is going to improve. I like Patch Adams, too. I think that horse ran a sneaky race 3 back. And, I really kind of looked at both of those, and I was like, oh, it's pretty interesting, right? And you have, when I mean by sneaky race, I mean that horse ran 7 furlongs at Churchill, and you look, he won by 10. So it's really hard to kind of overlook something like that. But it's sneaky because it's third down on the form, and you see 2 fourth-place finishes, and you're getting Pratt back, which is amazing in my eyes. I love that. But the big thing for me, too, is also the first-time Lasix. I like that. I think that horse needs it, needed it, and, he's going to get it today. So 1 for 1 at Churchill. Definitely think that he appreciates the Churchill track. My only question mark there was, again, the surface, if he's going to handle the surface being off or not. You don't know that yet because he's never run on it and he's never had to. I'm going to venture to say that Distorted Humor actually did like the mud, though. The mother. Or I'm sorry, the father of the mother, if that makes sense. But anyway, though that horse being my top choice, the 11, and then the 14 as well. So Big Trues is another lightly raced horse, but again, broke his maiden. Brian Lynch, if you look at his one last start figure, 24%. I love that. And Luis Saez gets the outside post, and the distance he's, again, 1 for 1. So I look for that horse to be very good. He's a Justify baby. They paid $300,000 for that horse. So I think that, they're going to continue moving this horse up and moving him forward. And what a better spot than today. So 11 and 14.
I'd like to mention a horse in here. And since you were associated with this jockey, I want to specifically get your thoughts, and I want some people in the chat to also look at this horse. Go to the number 7, Multiverse. Who rode this horse the last few times?
My boy, Drayden Van Giese. But hey, respectable rides. 3rd, 1st, and 2nd by a neck.
Aces. This horse goes from Van Dyke.
He's great jockey.
To Irad Ortiz. Now, jockey upgrades don't get much more than that. And there's another little angle on this horse.
Tappan Street.
You saw it.
Yep.
This horse, in its maiden race, ran right there to Tappan Street, who would have been one of the top 3 choices of the Derby this year.
Mm-hmm.
Who's a very good horse. Won the Florida Derby. I think the 7 is a sneaky horse here, but people are going to see what I saw. Jockey upgrade and bet. I'm with you on the 14. 14 is a major contender. The horse ran really good in its debut. Put me down as a horse who thinks Big Trust is a future stakes horse, possible anything. This is a good Brian Lynch horse.
I see
And
this horse running in the Breeders' Cup 7 furlong.
Yeah, I could see that too.
What's your
Um,
opinion on the
but-
3 horse going down in distance? For me, I don't know, with Ortiz, I get put some interest in
That's
my
my boy,
eyes.
Joe Sharp.
Hey, this is my second pick in there.
No way.
No, I like the 3.
Ooh.
I really do like the 3.
No, the 3's a major contender in here. Let me tell you why. First of all, jockey trainer, 32%.
Hmm.
Blinkers off. Look at the workouts on this horse. So I'm pretty sure that workouts without the blinkers too, on the track that it's running on too. And Jose Ortiz gets back on the horse. You throw that last race out, something obviously happened. That was a really weird race, that Louisiana Derby. But you take that race out, this horse ran big. And he's got good figures too, to the comparable. So I like that 3. There's a lot to like on this horse. Good workouts, good jockey, blinkers off, good connections. I think the 3 is a good one, and it's named after a character in The Sopranos. So
I know, I caught that too, yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you, Andrew. That's a good pick there. 3 and 7 are my long shots in there, and then the 14's the obvious. Another horse we got to mention, I think. I wanted to get your thoughts on it, Chris. This is good that I have you here. We didn't talk before, so now I'm getting your opinion on the fly, as everybody else is. What did you think of the 9 Romanesque, Bob Baffert? That size says it all.
This is that horse, dude, that like you ran against Barnes and you finished second. Barnes, it took him what was your Baffert horse that Miramati.
My horse. Yeah. I love that's my horse.
Gabe
I love you, brother.
was so on. If you guys don't know who Miramati is, right, and why we even talk about these horses. So Barnes is named after Jimmy Barnes, which is the assistant trainer to Bob Baffert. Okay, Miramati was named after Frank Miramati, which is the announcer at Santa Anita, the race caller, right? And you typically don't name horses after people unless you really think they're good, because it's kind of like
Yeah.
You name a
Yeah,
horse
but
after yourself and the horse is a clunker. It's not a good thing. Okay.
And you're basically immortalizing yourself there.
Yeah, correct. So Miramati, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it took him 6 tries to break his. He was a career maiden.
I think 7.
Yeah. But he'd never dropped down in class. Like they literally were like, no, we're gonna keep him maiden.
And I kept telling you he's the best maiden in the country.
We sat at Santa Anita, Gabe and I, probably 3 or 4 weekends where the horse was running, and I'm just like, don't talk to me. You're not gonna tell me to bet this horse today, and if you do, you're gonna go sit somewhere else, because I was not having it. And the 7th try, right? And I actually did include him that day. All truth be told, I included Miramati on it, and the horse actually won. And I'm just like, that horse will never win again. And then actually the horse came back to win back after the right back
Eagles
after.
Flight.
Yeah, correct. So why I laugh about this horse, Romanesque, is because he ran against Barnes. He finished second, but he also beat Rodriguez. So it's like, you really, which horse are you going to get? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
are you going to get the Romanesque that beats Rodriguez, or are you going to get the Romanesque that loses to Barnes? And not that losing to Barnes is a bad thing at all. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. If this horse for me was any good, he'd be in the starting gate in race 12.
Yeah, you got a point there. But I don't know. I mean, this is that X Factor horse. Like the horse
Yeah,
can
no,
win.
you're right. It's definitely yeah.
He can win or
trust-
run
I
dead last.
understand. I understand why you talk about him or would include him. I totally get it. Totally understand. But I don't. Yeah, I would rather take Big Trues, who's still unknown in the sense you don't know or how good he can be. The same thing you know,
Patch Adams a major contender too. You're
Patch
11.
Adams. Yeah, I liked Patch Adams a little bit in there, and I have him as
You
my.
got to use him. He's the
Yeah.
horse that, this is, when you're looking at a race like this, let me just say, the 7 and the 3, the horse that me and Andrew liked, we like the 3. Andrew seems to be gone. I don't know where he's at.
He'll be back.
So the 3 horse, me and Andrew like the 7. These are horses that will probably either win or be off the board kind of horses.
Yeah.
Where the 11, I would be surprised if the horse didn't hit the board or was more than 2 lengths off the finish line. This 11 should be there. It's got a Pratt and all that. So that's what I'm saying. The 11 is the safe horse in here.
For sure.
But the 14 also, he's only broken his maiden. Sometimes we don't know,
That's
who those maiden
How
horses
good they are.
were. Yeah, how good they are. So the 11 is the safe horse. The 11
Yeah.
is the horse where, you have to use them. But there's other horses in here that might step forward and beat them. But if they don't, the 11 will win. So we pretty much agree on that race.
Yep.
And we saw some long shots that figure. So now we're on the last race, race 14. We're on 2 hours and 41 minutes in here. That's how much we love you guys. And why don't you start us off, Chris? 'Cause I have strong opinion in this race.
Sure. It's kind of the same. I took the same approach as I did in the last race. Only because it's half a furlong more, I think, right? I think it's the same condition. Optional. It's non-winners. Never mind. Sorry. I was confused about those races. Anyway, this last race, I think I had the 12 horse on top. And then it was a toss-up between the 14 and 13.
When you say that, then you have to bet a 12, 13, 14 trifecta box.
So yeah, those are my. Whenever I run into those, I always do that. If I run into sequential
I
horses,
swear they come in
Yep.
9, 10, 11, 10, 11, 12.
Yep.
I don't know why, but they come in all the
It
time.
happens at least once a day. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 5,
Exactly.
6, 7, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Same.
I love the horse in here.
Pay
And
attention.
you mentioned him. No, you mentioned him.
Okay.
I think the 14 is
14. Brad
Yeah.
Cox. Yeah.
I think this horse is the real deal. Ran huge in its debut.
It
And
just got
bumped
caught late.
great. Let me tell you, other people that are listening, newbies, or maybe even like people that may not know this. A lot of times when you bump in the brake, that could take the wind out of a horse, even
Yeah.
just a little bit.
Very
So-
good point, dude.
Yeah. So bumping at the brake is something, remember, these are 1,100-pound horses. They're not, these aren't like flowers or, dogs. These are huge beasts. So they're getting, hit real hard by the horse next to them. So bumping at the brake is not something to take lightly.
Nope.
So,
Not in
the
a sprint either.
yeah, exactly. This horse ran really big, was bet in debut, highly regarded. That workout, look at that last workout. Bullet, best of the day. A 3-year-old who's only ran once outworked everybody that went out there that day. This just tells me this 14 is ready to roll. It's got a good name, Main Street, got a good gate jockey, probably the best gate jockey in the country, him and Edwin Maldonado, Luis Saez. I think the 14, I'm going to be singling him on some pick. Well, he's going to be my A horse, but I definitely think you got to use the 12 and 13, like my brother Vic's paddock picks mentioned, especially the 12. The 12 ran a 93 buyer. I'm not much of a buyer person, but damn, that's quite a number to run. And did you notice, Chris? They were 10.5 in front of the third horse.
Who's that?
You're 12.
Oh, yeah. They were
ran
12.
second. They were 10.5 lengths in front of the third horse. So and it got a 93 buyer. I don't know. I don't usually look at buyers, but in a race like that, when a horse gets a extraordinary high number, it kind of does show me something. So the 12 is a major contender as well. So basically, I'm going to be like 14 is my A, 12 is like my A minus. And then you mentioned the 13, Lambo. Yeah. I mean, that horse, look at that horse. I mean,
the only reason I wouldn't use Lambo, guys.
Stakes race.
Yeah, no, but just to be transparent too, right? I don't want anyone to think that like when they see a ticket and they don't see Lambo on it. Well, you're not going to see Lambo on a ticket if it's pouring rain because he doesn't run well on the off tracks, and that's just very distinctive in his last race. If you look, sloppy track out of the 5 races he's run, all in the same basic condition, 2 on the same track. The other 2 were different tracks, but they were all dry track. I take that back, actually. I just saw that. Saratoga was a sloppy track, but he ran 5th, which is his second worst race. So it still kind of signifies.
And that followed but you know what, though? That followed a layoff that was long. So something
correct. There's something there, but he also ran against Seize the Gray and Dornoch.
Oh, well, yeah. Champions.
Those are those. So that race for me is kind of weird because did he run bad or did he just run into the monsters? Did he not like the track, or again, did he run into them? So that's kind of the iffy thing there. But the 7th by 10 3/4 is not indicative of liking the wet track. So 0 for 2 for me. That's kind of a weird spot to be if the track is off.
I'd like to mention one other thing in this race. People looking at the 8. I'm not saying the 8's going to win or anything, but if you look at who the 8 ran against in its debut, it's a horse called Multiverse. And if you remember, Multiverse is running in the race before. So if Multiverse wins this race, what that's going to do is flatter this horse's chances. If he runs bad, then that won't flatter the horse's chances at all. But if Multiverse runs a good race, then you might have to upgrade that maiden race where he ran second to Multiverse. Just saying, the things like that we got to look at. Right, Chris?
That's right.
So to finish this race off, we both like the 14, and we both like the 12,
mm-hmm.
and we both think the 13's got a shot. I think the 8 is a good trifecta horse. I don't think he's going to win. I really think 14 or 12 win this race. And you were 14, 12, 13, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I think 14, 12 will get you through this race if you're doing pick 5s, pick 4s and stuff. And remember, I know we're all hungry for the long shots and all that, but, even if it's mid-price horses, you get a couple of them. I mean, look what Chris did. He basically hit 4 favorites, a mid-price horse, and a long shot, and made $20,000. So if somebody... don't be that person that just disregards favorites, because you know what? If you connect these favorites to they let you, if you get a good favorite, that means you could spread in later races, and those races that you spread, you could get a big price. So don't let people deter you on that. And I know Chris believes in that because him and I talk all the time. And
you got to have an opinion, you know what I mean? And if it's worth anything to you, right, you got to play it. You got to, you didn't look at all these races and go through all the homework to, I shouldn't say it, but to let the guys on TV tell you who to bet. You know what I mean? Like you gotta,
don't listen to those guys on TV.
Some of them are okay, but not all of them.
Yeah. Caleb's good.
Yeah. There's a lot of information, guys, and it's really knowing where to cut through it and how to bypass it, right? And knowing certain things. And what I mean by that, the jockey trainer combos that we talked about, that certain situations we see jockeys jump on different horses and things like that. It's not that hard to see or to notice or to find, right? Like what we're doing essentially is just kind of breaking down pace for one, and obviously relationships. I think that people overlook the relationship aspect about racing far too often. I've done it and have done it very many times in the past where I knew better and I shouldn't have. But relationship racing is huge, right? You use your top jockeys on your best horses. And knowing those things that I was talking about earlier about Brian Hernandez and Kenny McPeak, if you ever see them separate in a race, you really need to pay attention in those situations. And there's certain situations, again, where that helps you in other ways, right? So nothing we do is proprietary, guys. We're doing all the same things that a lot of these guys do, but we just look at things a lot differently, and we really understand the relationships. We understand the pace. Gabe's been doing this over 30 years, and I've been doing it over 25, and it's just something that we love to do, and we appreciate everyone's support. So it's a great thing to see you guys here and to show up. There's nothing more that I want than for us to all be successful together, and for you guys to get your value out of this, right? Like, I hope that a lot of these horses we brought up today, you learned something. You took a ton of information away. And like Gabe said earlier, if you ever have any questions, if you ever, want us to look at a race, like, we're going to do it for you guys. Like, that's just what we're here to do. And we want to encourage you guys to ask those questions, because we're here, we're information, and it's free. Like, we're not trying to gatekeep any of it. Right. Like, I think that, it's kind of a mixed feelings, right? Like, we do put a lot of work into this, and we do put a lot of time, and we're successful on some days, and some days we're not. And I own all the days that I'm wrong, because you got to take the wins, and you got to take the losses, right? So I hope you guys did have a good experience with this. We're definitely going to run it back for the Preakness, I think. But for sure, I want to let everyone know we're definitely going to be doing Breeders' Cup again. We had so much success doing it. I love doing these forums and these platforms because it gets everyone involved. We get the chat room going, and we get a lot of great information. And as you saw tonight, our opinions didn't match in every race, and that's super important to see, because we're not always going to see the same things, and we're not always going to be able to connect on the same horses. But being able to be open-minded, like I am with Gabe and with Andrew, like, you got to keep that open mind and be able to be forgiving and find the horses and be able to kind of swallow the pride and say, hey, I missed that. You know what I mean? And there's plenty of times where I've looked at Gabe and said, hey, bro, thank you. I missed that. Right. And then vice versa. I think it's super important to recognize those things. So I appreciate all your guys' time and support with this. This is something that I've been, working towards with these guys for quite some time. And we appreciate every single one of you. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you all. And I'll be preparing the recording. And again, sorry for any of the technical difficulties. I'm glad we were able to spend extra time at the end. And I'll send the recording via email that you had signed up with. So, yep. Thank you again.
Almost 3 hours, guys. We appreciate it. Gabe, you want to send us away?
Yeah, let's make some money, and let's hope Copian wins, because that's where my day is going.
Awesome.
And thank you, Andrew, for everything you did. You were wonderful.
Thank you, Andrew.
Helping out.
Thank you, guys. You guys did a great job, and I'm looking forward to doing many more of these in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys want to reply to those emails, any feedback that you have, we're open ears. And things we can do better for next year, obviously starting on time would be great, but that's something that, again, just technical stuff we're working with to make this more valuable for you guys and get us all together, so on a nice platform. And we thank Aces for doing that for us. So good luck to everyone. If you have any questions, you can reply to the emails. Andrew will get those questions over to us, and we'll definitely ask. So appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.